Greetings, family. Welcome to Pan Africanism Towards Nationhood, building a global Black business pipeline. So, greetings, family, and this is a beautiful night, and you're here on the late night shift with Bomani Tyehimba and Kala Genesis family, and we're here to bring you another incredible live stream. And we're always keeping you updated on all of the Pan African topics and all of the Pan African energy, and that's how we do it, family. We just keep it strong, and the goal is to keep building, and keep organizing so we can build a strong future for our children. So that's all we talk about, family. Pan-Africanism towards nationhood using different subjects. So tonight's topic, business ideas to contribute to Pan-African nation building. Afrikstan Analysis with Kala Genesis and Bomani family. You know how we do it. You go, Policy. You're ready for the night, man. You're ready to break it down as we get our people focused and ready. Because right now, brother, let's be real, man. You know what's going on right now. No one is going to be watching us because everybody's going to be talking about Kanye West.
Yeah, we're going to talk about Kanye.
Everybody's going to be watching videos and clips of Kanye.
Everybody have the same
thing you look on. I was doing a search today. I was like, man, wow. I mean, I saw like 50 different people talking about Kanye West. From white people, from white people to brothers, sisters.
It's the most trending thing right now. Kanye is yay.
And one a young white Jewish guy was talking about how much he loves what Kanye is doing, and Kanye that the powers that be, they're dealing with someone that they literally can't shut up, and they can't make him apologize and things like that.
I don't know. They took $1 billion.
It's wild.
they took $1 billion off his net worth, man. So I don't know. He bounced back this shit.
When you have these networks, you can play with the figures. You can say somebody's worth $4 billion today, and then they say they don't like you, just drop their figures down. But it's funny how these things go, man, because you're telling people that people like myself, when they hear us talking about land and having power, having an Afrikstan, I'm telling people it's because when you're just a pawn in a game greater than yourself, you could be a billionaire pawn. People may say, what is a billionaire pawn? Kanye, people like that.
Dr. Dre, P. Diddy.
Yeah, I mean, name it. And me personally, man, if I was in these positions to do business, I mean, they would be dealing with more of a rootless person. And when we build our Afrikstan, we tell people this is not a joke. We have to make sure that we put things in place so our children can run empires. You know what I mean? Like I was telling my little boy earlier, man, when he was just like, and I was telling him, I was like, be thankful for what we're building and what we have. Our last generation, we didn't have much. We're trying to break the trend and put a situation where you're a boss. By the time you turn 16, you're a boss. You're running Bomani Technology Enterprise. You got people twice your age that you got working for you and everything. And that's why I look at, as far as what you and I are talking about, building Black business for the purpose family. It's for making sure our children are running an empire and enterprises, because if not, then they're going to have to go to Disney as a student, as a young child. And I don't mean, I'm being honest with you, I don't really know what they do, but you know what they do, which is control the minds of your children. Or whatever music network that's out. And I mean, it's what it is. It's just us us who haven't seen what power is shown what power is. And that's what we talk about. We want to be able to just control our destiny from the fullest. We want to be able to cut that brain drain. I mean, so much of our great minds, they're just here in America, here in Europe, and most of them are just making everyone else richer but us. So family, we have to change the tide of these things. And that's what me and my brother Kala is here to talk about. We're here to talk about the business and things that we can get into. So I always like to share with people what we're doing. So one of the things we're doing is the business Africa for the Africans. So that's a Pan-African business that's going to literally put us in a situation where, you're connecting your people to Africa. You're doing certain things. You're not just talking about going to Africa. You're not just talking about other people investing. You're putting your money where your mouth is. You're getting yourself involved in business. So not saying that you should start in Africa for the Africans tourism investment business or a tourism investment business. But what we're trying to tell you to do is, in order for us to get better at the things that we need to do, we have to, it's all we have to be more practical. So some of the things we're gonna have to deal with are gonna be challenges in business, challenges in the world that we live in. And family, it's no way around it. There's no easy way to do this. So what we're always telling you to do is learn the skills that you need to learn. And when people ask me about learning skills, I tell them that, don't take any of what I'm saying personal, but you do have a few avenues. And I'm usually always talking to, especially young Black men, because, we side with, being a man and being a leader for your generation, your future. So the technical school I've been to was aircraft maintenance, and also been to IT technology school. I got a few different certifications up here. So those are my technical school, and technical school for me is one of the best things I will always recommend. But I had to spend a lot of money for technical school.
Where did Bomani go? You're off? Bomani. Okay.
All right, I had a little crazy thing that just happened a little while ago. Excuse me. Let me get back to what I was saying. So that was one career. That was one way to just learn skills and build a career for yourself. Technical school. Always highly recommend that, especially if you get some grant money and things like that. But if you can't, then you have to kind of work that out another way. So if you can't, one of the other ways is you join the U.S. military. I'm a person that's into technology, so the Navy was the only branch that really connect with me. And then it was logistics and operation, the things that we're involved in now. So those are things that get me connected. But that's another way to to make you some money, get you some training, and put yourself in a better position. So usually when I talk to people about the military part, that's when they all get scared. I was like, you better score. I was like, if you don't want to be put on the front line, and my brother said about his son, you need to score a little higher. But then at the same time, I'm telling people, and if you don't want to go that route, in New York, we both lived in New York. You're from New York. I lived in New York. And when I was younger in New York, I went to Transit Tech High School. So, when you go to schools like that, the thing is to work in the transit, operation, whether it's the train, the buses, the whole, they have all of the, they have the majority of jobs there. So, you have to take a test and you have to score very high. Yeah. So far, no free lunch, right?
Nope.
All right. The next thing, university. I'm a glorified university dropout. I only had one more year left, but I appreciate just using my money to start business and things. It'd been nicer if I didn't do all those other schools and things. And I think I just got burned out. And then by the time I got to this point, I was just ready to build what we needed to build. But those are my three avenues, and also the reason why people like myself drop out of university. I hate writing papers. But, you talking about somebody that's been a technical person all of his life. Everything work with his hands. From 13 working on electrical and electronic systems, and then from planes to computers and so on. But nevertheless, but I'm just saying, family, those are options of things. Especially, I'm speaking to our young generation, teenagers. That's like I speak to my son that's 12 years old about opportunities, and same thing I spoke to my younger brother and sister when they were teenagers, and they end up with one end up with a master's degree in mathematics. My sister. And my brother ended up with an IT degree, bachelor's degree, and work for Apple. So, we're trying to raise our generation, and it's important that they get into education. And when you build your education, and say you just after a while you have exceed your life in the corporate world, then now you have entrepreneurship. So, but like I was saying, some of my younger brothers, I was like, but you're not gonna jump. Like sometimes people see you and ask you what you do because they don't see you just living a normal. Like they may see you here for years, and they're like, you know what? I don't exactly see you like a consistent schedule or wear nobody's, corporate things, and so on. And you tell them that you have learned to work the system, and when you're in the system from a young age, the goal is to learn it and evolve and get other people to do the same, and then get to what you and I are always talking about: Pan-Africanism and nation building, so we could build effectively and things like that. So, family, this website, Africa for the Africans, it's really a focus of us and what we can build from the ground up. And I was telling people, literally, that was my technology background. But it's important that we kind of just progress and build to the future. So you can't just stay in one place. You do have to evolve, and that's the issue that we have with some of the people that's always giving us a hard time and always just in our face about why we're here in America and why we don't leave and why we, doing this and why we're doing that. It's like, what do you want us to do, family? What do you want us to do? Do you want us to just sit here and just be pawns and then literally just watch everybody else evolve? You know, I always like to just bring up the white guy married. Somebody told me he's still living. But I didn't know that he was dead anyway. But that guy, he lived to see his enterprise across 6 continents. That is amazing.
Same thing
You
with
know?
Walt Disney. Walt
And
Disney didn't live to see it, but his legacy is still there. You know, you still got Disney and everything. You know, Disney was a person. Disney did not get his first success until he was 49 years old.
wow.
Like, he's 5 years older than Bomani Tyehimba. You know, he was in the trenches and everything like that. Got dissed everywhere. Everybody thought he was a fool. He was incompetent and everything. You know, poor and everything. And he had this idea. The next thing you know, the right people said, "Let's take a chance." And next thing you know, the Disney was born. You know, and he was in his 60s when he broke ground on Disneyland in Orlando, Florida. You know, and say, well, people say, "Aren't you guys Pan Africans? Why are you talking about Walt Disney?" Because
What are
you
you
got to
talking
understand
about,
something.
Marriott?
What we're talking about is success. You
Yes.
know, we could talk about Reginald Lewis. There's many black success stories, right? But the whole thing is, like, if anybody who ever done anything with their life, right? You always draw inspiration to people who did it. Because what you'll find is that when you read these people, you see them that white man, white man, white man. When you actually read them, you know, just because they were white don't mean they probably had it better than we had it, right?
Right.
But everybody basically was trying to destroy them, discredit them, you know, and they feel like a nigga at times too. Oh, well, we decided that such, we can't do this and everything. The backers are calling in their loans and everything like that, all calamity and everything. And next thing you know, the person's out in the street and he's feeling like nothing. There's no friends left and everything. You know, it's the trials and tribulations. What thing we have to do as black people, right? We got to get out of this thing that the world did us wrong. We understand that, right? But no one's gonna come and say, you know something, black man, you know, we did you wrong. You know, here's the thing. No, you have to fight for everything you want in this life. You know, nothing you have is gonna be easy. Nothing's gonna be handed to you. Okay. And tonight we're talking about business ideas for the Pan-African movement, both here and on the continent. That's what I want to talk about tonight. You know, and because why? Because somebody in the comment section of the last show we did said, Kala, he says he's a plumber. He said, how can I contribute to the movement? I heard you guys talk about major infrastructure and everything. Do you understand when we talk about nation building and building that every skill is required? You
Everything.
know,
We need it. We need it all.
We need all.
Including people wash dishes and mow lawns and things like that.
We need everything, you know,
Yeah.
everything.
Pick up trash, everything. Scientists, engineers.
We need everything. That's what nation building is. Every possible thing. You know, nothing. If you're an auto mechanic, be the best auto mechanic you could be.
Yeah.
Get your what's it called? The AFC certification as an auto mechanic, you know? And so like that, when you got that level of auto certification, right? You can get a job any place, you know, top paying job. You know, you're a supervisor. You inspect the work of other people at the mechanic shop before it gets any major stuff. You are AFC certified. You work at an auto parts store. You are AFC certified. You are top person. You know all about the logistics of automobile maintenance, automobile supply, all that stuff like that. That's one of the things that you can do. You know, they say, well, how does that mean? Because the bottom line is this, right? Everybody in the world has to drive cars, right? And if you basically become that person who could build your own auto parts store or franchise or become a manager, not just own your own, but if you're going to work at AutoZone, work to the top. I know a lot of brothers who are in the auto mechanic. You know what I'm saying? They say, I need this. Okay, what should I put the part in? You know, everything's computerized. Okay, let me go to the back. Let me get that part right there. If that don't work, let me get this part right here because this is recommended and everything. Mastering your craft, okay? Auto parts, maintenance, you know, car repair. Not even talking about truck repair, tractor repair, tractor trailers, so like that, hitches on trucks. All these things are necessary because you don't think so until, let's say, you're overseas and something breaks down. And you're like, wow, man, we got to order the parts from another country. Well, if you had a a supply chain, right? You could be a major supplier. Okay, you could be what's it called, procurement. Now, the things I'm gonna introduce something tonight, right? That I've been talking about for years. Okay, I'm gonna introduce it tonight on the Pan African Nationhood thing, right? It's an acronym, okay? And I talked about it tonight, one time before when Nack Measy was on. He was trying to interrupt. It's called
I
EPCOM.
remember that.
Okay, it's called EPCOM. Okay. Now, you say, Kala, what does EPCOM mean? EPCOM is an acronym, right? That all logistics firms around the world use. It means engineering, procurement. This is elements of logistics. Engineering, E, procurement, P, construction, C, operations, O, and maintenance, M. Okay. Now, each one of those core elements, right, has many different levels. Okay, many different levels, many different players. Okay, if you have run a port, right, the port has a engineering department, right, and it has a procurement department. The procurement department is responsible for making sure every last single thing from a stack of computer paper to a pencil to parts and supplies are on standby. That's procurement. That's the purchasing. Okay, that's very vital. Now, all these things work together because the engineering will say, "Well, we need these parts lined up." So the procurement department has to basically make sure that whatever the things that's needed is there in synchronization. Okay, so therefore, okay, if you're building let's say you're building a gas station, right? The procurement department is going to make sure, right, on budget, that the pipes and everything is going to flow to with the construction. The construction has different phases. You have the people that dig the ground, right? You have the people that lay the concrete, the people that lay the pipes, and all this stuff like that, the plumbing and everything, right? The pumps and everything. Now, all those people, right, have to come in times, and it all has to flow synchronizationally, right? That means that's the operations. Okay, the operations decides what the timetable is for each thing that needs to be done. If the electricians show up, right, and the plumbers and the pipe people who lay the gas lines down are not done, right, then the electricians can't come in. Okay, well, however that works. Okay, so each thing has to be done right. The procurement department, right, the engineering department designs it. Okay, designs the whole flow. The procurement department makes sure that the supplies and everything, that each part of the logistics are there on time, okay, in a timely manner. Okay, the construction is the people who actually do the work. The operations are the one who decides the timetable of that, right, of the construction, right. And then the last part is the maintenance. What is maintenance, right? This is something the black people that we don't understand. Maintenance means you have a schedule. Okay, this part is going to be worn out in this amount of years, right? This part has to always be serviced. This part always has to be checked. Computers always have to be making sure that they're working properly and everything. That's maintenance, okay? That makes sure that one little operation, one little gas station is duplicated by hundreds of thousands of times, right? And they all have the same thing. And they feed data to a centralized system. They say, okay, well, these parts right here are breaking down. So therefore, you go to the engineering and you go to the procurement department and just supply new parts. So what I'm saying is this: each one of those elements of EPCOM, right, is opportunity. Okay, you can't just go do that, right? You may be the master contractor is the one who controls the whole thing. He's the one that says, okay, I got the master contractor. I'm the logistics, right? I have this. I can outsource it to an engineering firm, or I can insource it by building my own firm. I can outsource procurement, right, to another firm. Procurement is not something you people say, oh, we'll do. Like a lot of countries make that mistake of trying to do their own procurement, right? And procurement is very, very, very tedious because you may not have the means to get the supplies to the thing on time. So you might have to outsource that to a foreign company. You might have to outsource somebody who can handle that job. You cannot have nepotism and I'm gonna give it to my buddy like that, and the parts don't arrive there on time, and the whole operation collapses, okay? Or overrun cost. What was supposed to cost $1 million is now up to $2 million because of time and everything like this. So this is what I'm talking about, folks. When we start talking about nation building and building stuff like that, it's not easy. It's not fun. It's not easy. It's going to take the best of the best among us to do this. And my goal is to make sure that when we start talking about this stuff, you're talking about somebody who's competent and understands this, right? So therefore somebody listening to the show saying, you know something, I was thinking about investing in Africa, but I look at a lot of Pan-African channels and I see a bunch of buffoons, and I see a bunch of uneducated people who don't know how things work. I see a bunch of emotional people who don't understand that you might have a Korean partner, you might have a Japanese supplier, you might have somebody that might be one part of the engineering team. We have to understand that. We have to put that aside, all that stuff like that aside, to get the job done. Okay, now this is where we come, where you have opportunity. You can say, you know something, something. I see a big project getting ready to go over here, right? I got a plumbing skill. I do plumbing and everything. I have a bunch of guys at BAO who do plumbing, right? But they say, okay, but on what level? You might not be at the level where you could be the master plumber or the master plumbing contractor, but you could be a subcontractor. That's your way in the door. Okay. Well, as long as you have skills and you do it to the best of your ability, you could always put in bids and put in bids for contracts and stuff like that. I would say, get these skills here in America. Why? Because there's a lot of things in America that you can learn, because there's a lot of room for error here, because we're a bigger country, and a lot of times things do go wrong, cause delays, and stuff like this. And there's government subsidies to help out situations like that, or investors will come in and write that off the books and everything. But when you talk about a country like in Africa, it's no wonder why they use the Chinese and other people, because they got their stuff together. So don't begrudge why when you see a lot of Chinese and everybody doing this stuff, they have their EPCOM down to a science. They can operate on 6 different continents at one time. They can have their engineering team never be on the ground, but they're directing everything. You understand? And so therefore, these are the things we have to master. And Bomani and I was talking about this before. How many of us are basically doing business with the government? I met the mayor of Virginia Beach a couple of years ago. He said, look, we have Virginia Beach, a big city and everything. We got a large black population, but we got very few black people involved in buying, selling to the city. That's procurement. The city purchases things. The city purchases stuff from the private sector. We are so intimidated, we let the white people walk away with all this. Wonder why they got so much this. If you're a Navy person, retired from the Navy uses private contractors to buy stuff. They use a private sector as a private contractor, to purchase stuff and sell to the Navy. Okay, that's the way it's done. You go in there, and the whole thing is this: to make all this work. If you want to be a contractor or you want to be that person and everything, because that's what you're going to need when you start going globally. You're going to need a Rolodex of business contacts. You're going to need experience. You're going to be like this. Yeah, my company supplies the Navy. That's something that you could basically sell overseas. My company is responsible for selling the Navy tires. The Navy comes to me. I make sure the tires, or in other businesses, I take used batteries from the Navy, right, and dispose of them. I have a whole company where I remove a lot of stuff that the Navy don't use, and I dispose of it. That's my company. That's my business. These are sort of things that put you in part of the EPCOM system, the maintenance, the procurement, the operations, the construction, the engineering, that you're part of something. People basically, a lot of black people, when they talk about doing a business, and I just listen, I say nothing right here. Listen, they always say, yeah, I want to open a business. I want to go to Africa with business. Well, what kind of business? I don't know, a business. Well, did you go to the whole country you're going to and say, what exactly do you need? What are you buying from overseas? Maybe I could supply that for you. Okay, that's procurement. Maybe I could basically supply stuff. You know, a lot of countries in Africa need tractors and tractor parts and tractor stuff. You could do that by importing tractors, used tractors, and fixing and refurbishing them, and then letting them out and stuff like this. But the thing is, you have to do the work. You have to do your homework. You have to do your study, and you have to have some experience. If you basically do this stuff in America, right? If you say, look, you know, I'm going to take 5 years, I've been doing farming a lot all my life, but I'm going to get serious about this, right? I want to learn how to procure seeds. I want to learn how to procure fertilizer. I want to learn how to distribute this stuff. You know, I want to learn how to dispose of waste and clean stuff like this. And once you have those sort of skills, right, and you have success, then you are ready to partake in the nation building part on the African continent, right? Because you have experience. You know what to do. You have a Rolodex and a computer base of people that you can rely on for answers and help. You know, you cannot just go empty handed to the African continent and think that you're going to find something to do. The best business you could do is dealing with, especially in a developing country, is dealing with the government, dealing with established businesses. Sometimes the established business over there, if they don't have somebody supplying them from their home country, it might be a little expensive, right? You can say, you know, something, I can get those parts for you cheaper, you know, and you sit down and negotiate and say, look, you know, you won this contract, you supply me with such and such items and everything on a timely basis and everything, you got the contract. That's how you win. That's how you become part of the building process of the infrastructure of what we need. You know, construction is a perfect example of this. Perfect example of this. If you basically want to get into manufacturing, before you get into manufacturing, you have to have what? Buyers. Okay. You have to have buyers lined up. Okay. Another thing you could do is this, you know, you have, let's say you have Purdue Chicken wants to invest in a chicken coop like we're doing in the Congo, right? They say, you know, something, well, we want to build a chicken coop. We want to make millions of chickens. Okay. Well, okay. But the Purdue will say, you know, something, we know what we can produce, right? But if we have any sort of excess that we need, right? We may outsource that need, right? That outsource that to a supply chain. So therefore, that'll be an opportunity for you to say, you know something, I've been building chicken coops over here. You know, I know exactly how to do it. I can build it and everything. So Purdue will say, okay, well, you could be as our budget, as our projections see that we're going to grow here. You know, we'll give you the seed money to our finance company to grow a certain amount of chickens to supply our excess that we can't handle. And then you do that, and then they'll do it to another person, you know, or you basically expand your operation. I'll keep supplying you the extra. So they're supplying the main bulk of the stuff, and you're the secondary supply thing. That's how small companies get rich, and that's how business is usually done. Business to business relationships, business to government relationships, okay? And when I see people talking about go building in Africa, I don't hear these sort of conversations happening. Okay. And this is why anybody who's really in business and everything, look at the Pan-African movement and say, you guys don't got it together. We know how business really works. Okay. Business selling to government, right? Business selling to other, to business. Okay. Outsourcing, right? There's two types of integration of business, right? There's vertical integration and there's horizontal integration. Vertical integration is when a business says, I'm going to be my own supplier. I'm going to do EPCOM 100%. My company is going to be the engineering thing. It's going to do the construction. It's going to do the procurement, the construction. It's going to run all operations. Okay. I'm not going to outsource anything. It's going to all be insourced. So what happens is this is how the company does. Okay, if the company knows that such and such country is importing, let's say Nigeria is importing millions of tons of chicken every year, and the government says, you know something, we want to stop importing chicken to that, right? That amount is going to double, right? So the company comes in and said, we got a definite thing because we're gonna not only are we gonna produce the chickens, we're gonna have canneries, we're gonna have frozen, and we're also gonna retail it. We're gonna give money to marketers to buy our product. So they already have a captive market. Okay, so therefore they can say, you know something, we're gonna partner with Dangote, right, and create a vertically integrated business. That means they don't rely on outsourcing. Now the other part is horizontal business, right? The company will come in and say, okay, we're here making these chickens and everything, but we don't want to get involved with the hatchery and everything. So what we'll do is we'll contract out that to another company, local company, and we'll give them the training and everything, and they will contract on hatchery, and we'll purchase it from them. You know, that will be our hatchery thing. That's outsourced. That's business to business. The company that's outsourced to never takes ownership of the thing. They're just providing a service. They're hatching the chicken, and they're doing this stuff right there, and they're selling it, giving it back to the thing to distribute. Okay, so that's what they call horizontal business. This business model was mastered by a Japanese company called Hitachi. Okay, let me explain how Hitachi enfranchised local Japanese businessmen, small mom and pop factories and everything, right? Hitachi say, you know something, we're tasked with making engine parts, right, for ships. Okay, it's going to cost us too much to build all these factories and everything from the ground up. So with the help of the government, right, they would go to small pottery makers, small ceramics makers throughout the rural areas of Japan, and set up a warehouse, right? And they would go to these people and say, okay, we need you to fabricate these parts. That means we'll give you the machine to press these parts, make these parts, has the specs, everything. They train them right here. We need you to supply this many every week and deliver them to the local warehouse. Now the pottery person is saying, you know something, I'm good, I'm making pottery, but the government and Hitachi will say, you have a duty to make these parts, right? And that all happens all over Japan. You'll have a rug maker, right? In the back of his shop, he'll have something where he's making parts for Mitsubishi or something like that as a supplement. Now, when the parts, when they no longer need the parts supplied, right, they'll go back to rug making. Okay, and this is how people understand, how did Japan build their economy so fast? Because in America, it wasn't done like that. America and GM used a corporate system, which they basically, every time they had to build a new factory, they would go to Wall Street and they would build a factory. They would have to train people and everything like that and stuff like that. And they kept all the money, right? But the thing is, though, they had the task of, when the parts were no longer needed or supplied, they had to lay people off. Japan didn't have that problem. Why? Because the people they outsourced their parts stuff to, right, just went back to doing what they were normally doing. And so what I'm trying to say is, until we have that infrastructure, that sort of system where we have our own Mitsubishi, our own Hitachi, and all conglomerate, I want to see Black African Americans form our own consortiums. You know, that could only happen, right? Like we have a Rosenthal group, right? We need more people like that in the manufacturing sector and everything, that could outsource opportunity to smaller businesses, and that's where opportunity is created, right? Through outsourcing. Okay, if you're not part of the outsourcing, when I asked a friend of mine, I said, look, you know, how about he's Ghanaian. I said, how about open up dollar stores? He said, man, the Indians got that locked up. So the Indians and the Lebanese got their own supply system, right? They're importing stuff from China, right? They're warehousing, they're doing all the logistics and everything, and they got the Ghanaians. So it's all over West Africa, you know. Foreigners, because they work together in this sort of system, are dominating African economies to the point where African governments are in debt, right? And most of the GDP is servicing debt. So Africa doesn't, even though your economy may grow, you're still servicing debt. Yeah, that's why we see very little progress in the standard of living of the average person on the African continent, because we're not getting a piece of the action. You know, if we started becoming suppliers and manufacturers, and when like Dangote, I could put up a thing where Dangote is building a refinery, but he's not building a refinery. His name is on it. A Korean company, South Korean company is building it, right? Along with an Indian company. And they're absolutely, and you see Nigerian workers, that's what they put as optics, right? But none of the companies that's building that refinery are black.
You're pulling my leg.
I'm not pulling your leg. I said that to you. I said that to you. I said that to you.
Yeah, you said it to me, but I mean, like visually while I'm talking to you, man, that don't make that make sense.
And the whole thing is Nigerians send millions of people across the world, right, to do nothing. They say they're going overseas to send money back. It's ass backwards thinking, it's ass backward thinking. Instead of saying, something, between Nigeria and Ghana and all these people that got education, why don't we build our own consortiums and businesses and everything? It's all about organization, And Absolutely. Then if you have to outsource parts of your engineering, you can outsource that. But you're the one controlling it, You're the one making all the money. Now, all the money that's going to that refinery, right, is going back to Korea and all these other people.
So you're saying, again, to make sure people hear you clearly, you said only the workers, low-budget workers.
Low-budget workers. That's all it is. That's all you'll see. They'll have hard hats on, and they'll put pictures. That's the only picture you'll see, right? Because Nigerians, like Ethiopians, have this propaganda machine, like they're progressing, and they're not progressing.
Somebody please send me a message and tell me Kala is trying to spook me. Somebody please tell me you got another side of that story.
I wish I was. I wish I was lying, you, bro.
Absolutely, your research is always good.
I wish I was lying.
I want somebody to really, somebody please back this up, man. Is this what we're doing in Africa? Is this what we're doing in the world that we live in?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm like, yo, I come from a competing culture, but in order for people like myself to compete, I gotta work with other people that's willing to compete so we can put our energy together,
And this is why I tell people all the time, before you start talking to people, go to Africa and whatnot. The system is not set up like that, because let's be honest with ourselves. We have never basically, the Japanese realize they're Japanese, right? And they're Team Japan. You go to Japan, you'll see Japanese, everything in Japanese companies, everything like that. You might see IBM and Hewlett Packard there or something like that, Amazon, whatever. But for the most part, the Japanese system is built by Japanese, and Africa is not like that. There's no real, there's no sense of nationalism, right? Nationalism and all this stuff. Let's be honest with ourselves, right? The modern world was thrust upon us through colonialism and slavery, okay? But Africa never really had a middle age, The middle age is where people develop that sense of nationalism, Like French. The French were scattered a bunch of tribes like Africa is right now, but they became Frenchmen towards the modern era through education, through religion, through politics.
It's amazing, brother. It's amazing when you look at the history. You're talking about groups of savages.
Yeah.
When you talk about savages and wicked,
savages, not,
evil people. But they figured out the same thing as what is known today as the British Empire, or
that's about how that happened. I have no idea, because they were
it's the same thing too. That's what I'm saying to people. When we're telling people this, when people when these fools that come up here that no longer come up here because we ran them off and educated, when they're telling us that Pan-Africanism never worked. I mean, can you go back in the past and tell the British and the French that? They're arguably two of the strongest and wickedest empires that ever existed in historical times and also in modern day time. And you're telling me that they put wicked groups of people, their own people, together and made a nation and dominated the world. And people are telling me that Pan-Africanism doesn't make sense and Pan-Africanism is this. I'm like, the Pan-Africanism is your hope to be, similar to the people that we talk about. And Marcus Garvey broke it down when he talked about Africa for the Africans. He mentioned, China for the Chinaman. So the same thing, family. We're talking about us having to just build that future that we need to build, because if we don't organize and consolidate some of these so-called empire or nations, we're in trouble because that's why me and Kala always have to talk about European nations and Asian nations, because the things that we're saying that we go through in the struggle in Africa, other nations have been through it. I'm not saying that because the first thing that negative freely is gonna say, well, the Chinese got money like that, the British got money like that, the French got all kind of colonies that they're raping. I mean, that's not the point of the analysis. The point of analysis is that people who want power find ways to organize themselves. Look at the European Jews. They built a movement of like, no one is gonna ever, like, I hear when I go to different African countries, always there they make us say never again, and which is that's what you want. You don't ever want any of these atrocities to happen again. But I think they understood the point when they said never again. They're like, you come at us for one thing, we're gonna all come together and shut you down.
Yeah,
And that's what I want our people to learn to do. Like, yo, anybody come against us, we come together and shut it down. You know what I'm saying? Because freely, what I personally know, you can trash black people from all over the place, from America, Africa, wherever, and none of us are going to organize ourselves to stop you from whatever you're saying about it. But as soon as some of these other people, we say things about some of these other people, or other people say things about them, you see them exert their power and things. And some people may say, why are some people so sensitive? Other people take their, take their struggle and their Holocaust and where they came from probably a little more serious. Our situation is definitely just painful, and it's complicated in many ways.
We've accepted it. We've accepted
but nobody's gonna feel sorry for us, regardless of the situation. You go tell you go reach out to anybody else and tell them about our oppression. They're gonna tell you about their oppression, and at the end of the day, even if they do admit that our oppression is worse than theirs, the thing that they're gonna say is that
so what?
So what? Everybody been through it. You have to figure it out. You're gonna have to do something.
No one cares about our pain. Until we figure that out, that nobody gives a damn about us or whatnot. You're like, oh man, they did us so wrong and whatnot. You feel sorry for yourself and whatnot. It's like the guy at the party, right? He's sitting in the corner, right? And you know that guy, right? He's in the corner. Oh, nobody's dancing with me.
I love these things, man. Yeah. That's not how they got power. We always got these geniuses that come on.
Yeah, they can't come on the show. Hey Phil, why don't you call in when we put the link up there? Don't say that. Don't be a coward all your life.
The thing of it is, I'm not gonna sit here and run off a whole history of how white people got power and stuff like that. I'm giving you a general reality of it. Now what the French and the British had to pull off, was that easy? Nah, that is. I'm sure many times they went out there to do some of their evil, and ships got turned over and they got wiped out.
Oh, yeah, look at what happened in
Amistad.
Yeah, all that stuff like that. The Japanese basically took out the whole British fleet in Asia within like a few weeks. They lost everything. The British had to retreat back to Britain and whatnot. And they were never the same ever since. They lost everything in World War II.
You're talking about the Great British Navy.
The Japanese took that thing out. The sun will never set on the sun will never set on the British Empire. In Japan, no one told the Japanese that.
Hey, you want a history lesson?
No, you can't give me a history lesson, bro. You don't know history.
Yeah, brother. You're talking to
the two people know history, bro.
Brother, this whole house is a history book. This whole house got DVDs, videotapes. You know what I'm saying? I put the work into, and we travel to countries and things like that. But I think more important than just knowing a bunch of history is knowing how to put it in perspective. And that's why we call it the Afrikstan Analysis, because everything we're going to be telling you about is in reference to how we can build what we need to build, regardless of whatever situation.
Now, did you like what I said about the Hitachi in Japan?
Oh yeah, man, that's nation building.
I got this one book supporting the nation. Right? Let me tell you something. How I found that out. Right, back in what year was this? 94, 93, 94. Right. Me and my boy Vince, him and Francis, he's from Long Island, man. Me and him, it's like the only real friend I had in Virginia. He's from Long Island by way of Greenville, South Carolina. Anyway, we used to always go to thrift stores. Right. I'm fresh from New York. Right. Every time I went to a bookstore, thrift store, I'm just picking up books for 25 cents. I saw it was Life of Japan, published by Time Life. The book was published in 1968, right? I said, I gotta get this shit, right? I picked up a whole bunch of books on Japan, right? I picked all them books up, man. It was like 10 of them, right? Like 25 cents, $1 a piece, man. And brothers walking up. I'm walking out of there with people in there trying to buy clothes. I'm sitting there buying books, you know. And man, I read them books, man. I said, I can't wait to get home, right? And I read them books, ran from inch to inch, right? And that story about Hitachi just really, really clicked home to me. That's when I said, oh, that's how we do it. I said, if we had our own,
The
back
blueprint
then,
is out there.
yeah, that's what I said. If we had our own nation state, right? Our government would tell small craftsmen, like you got these African guys. Africa already have the resources. All those guys who could make crafts, you know, stuff like that. You see the shit they make, lifelike crafts and whatnot. You could take them brothers and say, look, man, we need you to design this. You know, give them the skills and everything. But Africa, basically, the craftsmen that you see, the beautiful crafts, they're on their own. There's nobody basically enfranchising them. There's no basically Mitsubishi society. Mitsubishi was society. Whether you was a small craftsman, a small merchant, or you a big top executive, you're part of Mitsubishi. You know, in Mitsubishi, just say with Sumitomo, it's a clan. You know, we need that sort of energy. That's why I created the Kala Nation. You know, I said, look, we're gonna basically have businessmen, craftsmen, all these people under a Pan-African culture. You know, and we're gonna make it modern. You know, that's my dream is to have that. That's the only way it's going to work. You know, we have a modern society, but we still have traditional ways of doing things. We have a model in West Africa, the Dayula. The Dayula in West Africa means trader, right? These are fraternities and trade societies, right, that pass lineage down for generations. You know, some traders deal with salt, some deal with, so the Wangaras deal with gold. You know, the Wangara Dayula deal with gold. And so therefore you track these things down and everything. And what we haven't done is this: take that same system, right, and apply that to modern world. Imagine if Dangote was a Nyamakala or a Dayula, right? You know what Dangote group would look like? He would have smaller Dangote affiliates, right, building stuff for him, supplying for him. But it doesn't work like that because
It should work like that because I always hear about these are very successful number one, and then also very rich Nigerians that's in different parts of the world. I'm not selling anyone how to run things because as soon as you start talking about someone's country, they start telling you, well, you go back to Jamaica and you go fix the problems in Jamaica. And I'm always telling people this has nothing to do with what we're talking about. You know what I'm saying?
We're looking at
the fact that we should, when you get to that level to build a refinery, make sure as many of our people is in the game as possible. Now I can't tell that man to run his empire because obviously he's very successful and I'm in an opposite end of but nevertheless though, what we're pushing is what we're pushing. Just like when you ask me about the business that we do, all the business that we do, it's for supporting and working with Black people. And things like that. I'm not saying that you wouldn't do business with anyone else, but it's you're dedicated to your people, so you're creating those opportunities, and you're saying that hey,
your people
lacking in manufacturing, and then if we're supposed to have the sharpest, smartest Black people, this is not my words, people say, but that's the statistics, I guess the numbers prove it. That's saying that Nigerians are up there as far as some of the sharpest Black people. So you talk about, and then also you talk about other countries in Africa and other parts of the Black world, and even more important, the whole Black world right there. So you have options of people to choose from. So we have people in all different universities and things. I'm just always wondering, like, can we just get this thing worked out, literally worked out to where we're building Black empires, enterprises, and then we're educating a generation of children that's going to run it to the highest level, and things like that. And somehow we haven't been able to get there
because I'm glad we talk about Pan-African towards nationhood. This is not the Pan-African shuffle. The Pan-African shuffle is when everybody Black power and all stuff like that, and they got no sort of system in place to facilitate that, other than super chats and donations and all this kind of nonsense. When we talk about Pan-African business, right? This is what I'm saying. We're not like the Japanese. Japanese never lost their culture, so they could build on being Japanese. That's the strength, right?
That's one thing they always have.
But Black people, we lost a unique identity in Africa, right? So we cannot just be, let's say, okay, African American or Jamaican, everything. Our plight is that we're discriminated based on the fact that we're slave descendants and that we're black, right? So that is what we have to use to unify and build upon. We're now a tribe. We're now people, right? And the whole thing is we have to basically build societies, right? Societies. And let me tell you something, folks. You're not going to build anything, right, until you start building secret societies, networks, right? Networks. I don't care if it's with your church or your mosque, whatever like that. You have to build networks and everything where you have rules and regulation, everything, and people are held to a standard and with each other. Then basically, this is how it works. You got to have social power, social cohesion first, socialization. Then you could justify moving into economics. It just flows naturally. When you have a social club, a social society, right? That's the sort of society, right? Says, okay, we are the such and such people. We're going to form an association. Perfect example I'm talking about in California, right? Where the Napa Valley and all these people in California, right? When they basically were up against corporations coming from Wall Street, taking their land and dominating the cattle and salt and everything, you know what they did? They formed their own cattle ranchers association, legalize it, right? Small, tiny farmers were saying, these people are trying to dominate the salt trade, right? So they could drive cattle prices and drive us out of business. And so therefore they form associations, right? Lifetime associations. And this goes against this myth about America being rugged individuals. Yeah, they're all individuals, right? They weren't communal, right? They were individuals saying, look, we have a stake here. You're a cattleman, I'm a cattleman. We're getting screwed by these Wall Street bankers and these Wall Street Eastern corporations coming out here, right? So let's form our own associations, okay? Legal associations. Let's form our own trust, and therefore why? Why? Because this is the difference between us and everybody else. It's one thing to be interested in Africa. It's another thing to graduate to having an interest in Africa. You know what interest means? That means you have something at stake. You have something tangible. You own something. And it starts right here in America, right? If you form a susu, right? If everybody put money in, a lottery and everything, you have something tangible. You have something, everybody's going to be asking questions and everything. People have to be accountable to you. Why? Because you formed the association. You named it, and next thing you know, you guys are doing the thing. I've seen it happen a lot of times, right? Yeah, the such and such group and everything. My group right here, my insurance group, right? It's growing. Same philosophy. TFO Insurance, Medicare Resources. My group, right? I got agents to buy into what I'm doing. Now they're all TFO. Why? Because they are making money. They're doing good. So they're loyal to our family business, and that's how you do it. You do it by making sure people have a stake. They have something that they can buy into. Too many times in our black movements, right? It's only one person controlling everything at the top, right? And people give, just like, and then it falls apart. But if people know that they're making money and they got something invested and they're getting a dividend check, that's why I don't disperse Jay Morris, what he's doing and everything in the Tulsa real estate group and everything. I hope one day that he strikes a big. What Jay Morris needs to do is take his talent to the continent of Africa and start doing some real estate. That's what I would like to do and get into banking with it. Then Jay Morris like that. But Jay Morris has not expressed interest. He went to Ghana one time, but he hasn't expressed interest in any Pan-Africanism. Jay Morris is organized. He has an organization. People send in money and donations. They invest. That's a starting point. The Tulsa Real Estate Group, they got their T-shirts. They're like a clan. They're like a club. These are a social club, and they buy into this idea of thing. Now they're not making a whole lot of money, right? But that will come eventually. But the main thing is they bought into something. They bought into a corporate system. They have a sense of agency. We are this entity. You are not going to get involved in business in Africa being an individual and being without that. So therefore, when you have something, you have people that you elect to speak on your behalf, right? We got millions of dollars that we can invest and everything. You can step to any country in Africa and say, we would like to build this, and they'll basically work with you, and you do it to that level. we have to have that sort of engagement when we talk about building the Pan-African movement, you know. And so far, that has not happened, right? Everybody but the Pan-Africanists is doing that, you know. Everybody else is going out there doing their things and everything, and they're doing their thing. That's fine. I wish them well. They're Black and they're successful. I support them, okay. But if you basically are talking about the Pan-African world, right? We're not doing that. They're not people. We're not people meeting on regular basis and coming together under a banner and saying, "Look, this is my group right here. We have 300 members. We put some money a month. We have an investment fund and everything. We have a susu. We have a club, you know. And this is what we do. We have bowling twice a week, and we meet locally and everything like that. We have several chapters we're starting up and everything. These are sort of things that we have to do to galvanize. Why? Because I'm going to drop it to you right now. This is what the Indians do, okay? Black people, we look at these other people. How are they so successful? First of all, when usually when the Indians come over here, they'll have one major businessman that's a multimillionaire, right? And then basically he'll invite some of these little groups, these secret societies, groups and everything, as a tag along, as a rider. Hey, why don't you come over? I'm going over to America. I got this building this IT factory. I'm building this company in Silicon Valley. But I need my people with me, and so therefore he doesn't get any riffraff coming up on Facebook or YouTube. He plugs into people that are Indian communities that are already organized, and so they come over and they set up shop and they'll open up a restaurant, they'll open up a gas station, they'll open up a hotel and stuff like this. And so you have another community, and they'll usually have one bank that they deal with, you know, that either they own or they basically they work with, to the point where in the Bangladeshis are massive so much. Bangladeshis got their own hospitals in Brooklyn. You know, Bangladesh. How do they do that? They're not smart enough. They're just organized. You know, they know how to organize themselves on every different level. And so therefore, it's the duty of every Bangladeshi to make sure they use that hospital. Why? Because now they're here and they're getting, I learned this when I was selling policies in Jersey. There's a lot of people can't speak English. I'm from Bangladesh. Can't, can't speak a wicked English. But guess what? They're going to look at their doctors and everything. They're going to make sure that money that they get from their insurance is going to go bill to their doctors and everything. And they're going to make sure their doctors, their nurse practitioners and everything are getting paid. The Filipino community in here do the same thing. They all work together. Only the Black community here is so fragmented and broken that we don't work together, right? We have to work together here, right? So therefore, we could duplicate that on the African continent. You can't just go to Africa and you wonder why when we go to countries in Africa, why people aren't working together, because we're working together here. We have to basically start here and building African American community building. When I stick by your culture, stick by who you are, your identity. That's your strength, okay? And then you could join the so-called greater Pan-African world, because the Ghanaians in America are pretty much united, the Nigerians are united, and everybody else is united. So the Black people in America have to start doing the same thing. We have to start forming our own social clubs, our own susus, our own everything, you know. And people talk about, yeah, now support Black banks. I want to support Black banks too, but you know, what are we doing with the Black banks? Well, are they building the community? Are they investing in Africa? And all these things got to be asked and everything. We definitely need Black people who are what we call alphas, you know, the alpha family, the alpha corporation, you know, and we have to get behind that person and basically group and say, yeah, this group of people, they got $100 million. They're about to invest in there. Yeah, and then we got to stop this jealousy and envy and bickering and back and forth and everything, and say, okay, we're with this person because, you know, he's one of us, and we're part of a greater community. You can't call yourself a community, right, if you don't do the things that a community does. Community means sticking together. Community means working together. A community don't mean you just in one place and y'all all got nothing, you're broke and you're destitute and you're fighting with each other. on time all time, that's not a community. Community really means commune, mean together. You know, that means if a person's a businessman, a person's a lawyer, and we used to have Black America was striving towards that at one time. You know, we had people who were leaders, you know, people who were educators, people who were stuff like this, and we were all one people. But until we get back to that sort of mentality, right, that's not going to work. Now, the topic tonight is businesses ideas. And I think we gave you a reason why these things aren't really manifested. People say, I need to, what can I do to contribute to the Pan African movement? Well, in your community, right? If you got a lot of people, let's say your profession is electrician, right? How many electricians do you know that you guys can get together? Are you part of a union, right? Do you have a Black electric association? Do you have a plumbers association, Black plumbers association? Do you have all these things and everything? At one time, well, we had a man named A. Philip Randolph that had the Pullman Association. These are Black men that came together, put their money together, and worked with each other as a porters, porters. And basically, we too had control over the railway service industry at one time in this country. You know, these are things we used to do back in the past. You know. Okay, like I said, Kala, you are correct. However, in order to make ideas work, network Africa, the community would have to see themselves African. No, you have to see yourself. That's. I mean, you have to see yourself as African, yeah. But people, that's just too simplistic. You know, you can call yourself African all you want. We got people who go to Africa so they call themselves African and fail. We got people going to Africa, call themselves African and are destitute, failing. They got to come back to America. That's not enough. You know, in America, Black people know the Black people for the most part, not on social media, know that Africans are Black people. You know, same thing. You know, when somebody comes down the street and a woman clutches her purse and or somebody call you a nigger, you know you're African. You know, when you take your hat off and they see your nappy head, you know you're African. You don't have to say anything like that. Now the whole thing is make that African something to treasure, not something to run away from. That's the idea. You can be African all you want, but basically, if you're not part of a culture, the community, and everything, then it doesn't really mean anything. You can be African basically and live destitute and not have any money and everything like that. So it's not just that people in Africa know they're African, but they're not, doing what the Japanese do. So, though I get what you're saying, right? But that's not really this. Black people in America will do it if the situation is right. And Bomani and I are talking about Pan African nationhood, right? If we're meeting locally and basically saying that our end game is a nation of our own, and why is because we acknowledge our common ancestry. We acknowledge that we need to build on the African continent. We need to build together and everything, and that one God, one aim, one destiny, and everything. Then all that stuff like that will come natural. All that stuff will come right natural. You won't have to tell people to be African; they'll know because their way of life and their bread and butter is tied to it. If until what we're saying is tied to people's well-being, their bread and butter, and their way of life, it doesn't mean anything. If you're going to go to work for the white man all the rest of your life and everything, you can call yourself what you want. You're still going to be poor, Yeah. I get what they said. You missed the point. The starting point is healthy with narrative of self. Yeah, we have all the people that said all that for years. But mind, am I lying? We have all the people. We have people like Mamani and myself, myself. If that was the case, man, there'll be
Yes, brother.
there'll be 1,000 people in the live stream right now. We have all that stuff. What we have to do is make what we're saying a reality. And that's gonna be the hard part. That's why I had Mr. Rosenthal on the other night. This is starting to become a reality. When this starts to become a reality, all the stuff will fall right in line. Right now, everything we have is tethered to white people and white America and everything. That's who feeds us. That's who basically gives us jobs and everything. So that's who we are. You are who pays you. You are who basically, like Kanye's gonna find out real soon. You are who basically pays your bills. You know, until we
There you go,
that's just the
Alex.
truth, man. You know, you are who paid your bill. You know, the bottom line is this: until we get to the point where we have industries and businesses and everything, and we get serious like that on that level, then things will change. The Indians don't have to change. Why? Because they're making their money. You know, they come over here and they got real estate, they got IT firms, everything, and not only that, they don't have to worry about their women. They don't have this problem with you see black women and everything. Their women by the time they're 23 are married. You know, they got arranged marriage, everything. They don't have to do nothing but stay being who they are. They're not trying to change. They got everything. You know, same thing with the Chinese, Jews, everybody else. They marry. They already got those things to say. Black people want to be Americanized. They want to be modern and everything. And now women are going crazy right here. 80% single mother rate and everything like that. You know, and people are just doing their own thing. People basically are glorifying death, destruction, and ignorance all over that thing. And those who, all I'm saying is those who think like us need to be together. You know, we cannot help those black people who don't want to be Africans or don't want to be part of this. I wish them a lot of luck. You know,
Absolutely, wish them all the best, and
all the best.
there's
You know,
nothing I
but all we can
can.
do is talk about who those of us who believe like we believe. We need you to join the BAO social network. You know, get involved, right? Invite some people out. Join the local chapter, right? And basically, when you join the local chapter, right, I'll give you $100 if you set up your first meet and greet. You know, you can meet at a fucking bowling alley for all I care. You know, you know, you know, start doing this. Start doing the things we can do. Meet personally. Meet hand to hand. You wherever city you in, say, you know something. We got this guy Bomani and Kala, right? You know, they're doing a show Saturday. Let's all get together at my house and whatnot and watch the show live together on big screen. And take notes and everything. Those are stuff we can do. You know, when people want to tell me they're serious. You know, and socialize it. You know, we got too many hermits and recluse people. You know, talking. We need people socializing, getting together. If you are in a black church, you know, let them hear the gospel of Reverend Kala Genesis. You know, and say, look, man, these guys are talking about building in Africa and everything like that. I heard y'all talking about that too. Black people, especially black people in church, always talking about Africa. You know, and we got two guys, man. They talk about investing in Africa and stuff like that. Black churches help Africa so many times over the years. You know, fundraising and stuff like that. We've always been involved in Africa. There's not one black church that don't have the Africa mission. You know, and I wish it was the same with the Nation of Islam, but not. You know, but therefore, get together with people who are like-minded, right? And you start building. You know, and forget about trying to change Negroes out here. Let the white people do that. I think way too many. I think way too many black people worry about black people messing up because they worry about how bad it looks to white people. You know,
Yeah.
and I think that's what the problem is. Oh, well, black people out here messing up. I don't care about that. Worry about those brothers out there that want to do better, that you can reach, and y'all build something together. We become the new community. We become the new Black America, a Black America that's focused on its future. You know, and therefore you could build something. You know, but you're not going to build nothing worrying about. Oh man, Kanye West. Oh man, and this, that, and the other thing. That's not going to change. Kanye and all the stuff like that. You know. Okay, could you explain what Kanye said about Jews would create a rift? Okay, my whole thing is this. I don't know that whole White Lives Matter stuff just disappeared off the screen. Is when he started talking about the Jews, that like that people are like, oh, Kanye, white that. As soon as he started saying something about the Jews, that's when Kanye went down. You know, I don't care about no White Lives Matter shirt.
Oh my God.
That's all nonsense and everything.
That
White
is
Lives Matter.
that's kind of like somebody that's wanting attention, and it's what it is. I understand different aspect of marketing. Some people that's how they market awkward stuff, but
Yeah,
not,
okay.
and then some people just literally mentally ill.
Yeah, and so therefore, yeah, look, that's what he said, whatever. I got bigger fish to fry than what Kanye said on T-shirt. And then Kanye said about the Jews and everything, just talking off the cuff and everything. And what he was saying was actually the truth, to tell you the truth. What a lot of stuff he was saying and everything. A lot of people realized that it was the truth. I don't know, maybe it was the right time to say it, whatever. He could have been more subtle about it. But what they're doing is they're trying to destroy him.
But people have been sharing that information for a long time. It's not like he's the
That's
first
not the
person.
first time. That's the first
Like
time
I
I heard
mentioned to
that.
people, like Dr. Clark himself. I mean, series of information.
Yo, what you call it? Henry Ford. Henry Ford said that shit.
On Zionism and how they build their their empire and
Yeah,
what they were
the
gonna
elders
do to
of
make sure they
Zion,
protect their
protocols of
empire.
Zion.
So it's I mean, I don't know. Just I got what I'm saying. I got 99 problems to worry about,
Well, but Jews
and
ain't
that
one
is
of
not
them.
one.
You do
Well,
it.
whatever they're talking about is none of them.
But my whole thing
We
is
got a
this,
whole
though.
community to build, and we
Yeah,
got moves to make, and then we have our own folks stabbing us in the back, and we're trying to progress. So,
yeah,
the things that we talk about is like those things are like entertainment. So I mean, I do engage in it, and I laugh.
yeah.
It's really funny to me. You know what I mean? Because obviously those people have other problems other than money problems. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
but bottom line is this: Kanye got a lot of money. The people he's got a lot of money. I don't got a lot of money like that, so that's not my problem. That's rich people's
Exactly.
problem.
We're looking to build what we need to build, and we know what we need. And if
Right.
people ain't down with what we're down with, we ain't got time to waste on them. But
Now I tell you this:
mhm.
if let's say when we get to the Afrikstan and we go by play it by ear, right? If we get any pushback from Jews, whatever like that. So far, Rosenthal has astounding success, right? And so the Jews ain't stopped him, and all the people that's doing what they got to do. So maybe we over exaggerate the Jew. I think it has nothing to do with Jewish power. It's black people's mediocrity. That's the problem.
Well, I think one of the real situation is is America the only place you can build an empire for talent, for business, for so on? No. So if you really feel there's issues with the system, like people like myself, then build towards the future, and build towards the future that you want to build. Because you and I talk about that world, the Afrikstan. We're building a world, a system that's catered to us, that's for us, by us, and we're
We
building it
want that.
together.
What I want to see is why I don't see black men, right? Black men, right? When I listen to them talk, what's in your heart and everything like that. What's in my heart is the fact that I want to know what it's like to have a land of my nation of my own. You
Right.
know, you know. I'm saying like this. I basically feel like all my life, right, that I'm a foreigner in somebody else's land, right? I can't, change that and everything. I want to know what it's like, right, to truly love the country I live in. Now we have another movement going on around the world, right?
Uh-oh.
Talking about
Uh-oh.
that, right?
Yeah, go ahead, bring it up, man. We're gonna
Right?
mix this up tonight. There you
Yeah,
go.
check us out, right? And I'm gonna piss some people off, right?
Oh, no, no, no,
There's,
brother. Why would you want to do that, man?
oh
I
yeah, I
think
know. I love I
that's
love doing that.
that's why your fans love you, man. Go
I
ahead and
know.
do what you do,
Now
man.
check us out.
They love you
There's a
because you keep it real with them.
Check this out. There's a growing movement that most black people have bought into that says the hell with the rule of law and the nation state. You can't talk about nationhood, right? And not like the idea of a nation state, a government, nation, right? For example, right? I sent you a video, right? Did you see that video? Maybe we should play it. You got
All right,
some
sure.
black Negroes in Israel, right? Bum rush Israel, right? Living on the welfare, telling some white Jew, this ain't your country. We're always going to somebody else's country, right? Bum rushing, getting treated like shit, killed, shot, discriminated against, right? Under the idea of there's no such thing as nations. We all should be the one thing. The people who have something, right, want to keep it that way. I want to know what that's like to have a nation where I got to keep somebody else out. You know, Now there's a lot of brothers and sisters from Africa that living in the UK right now, living in America, living all across the world, scattered across the world. Kala, man, what are you talking about? When yeah, nigga, you should go back to your continent, right, and build something, right? You over there in Amsterdam talking all this nonsense and everything, no offense to nobody in Amsterdam particularly, but
Are you talking about Sleazy?
no, not him, not him. Not. I'm talking about people who are sitting up there in Germany and whatnot, and I hear him talking about I'm a German now, you know, and I'm saying to myself, or the Nigerians that live in Italy talking about, oh, I'm Italian and all that. They basically really think they can regentrify these white European countries. They really think they said the Chinese, the black community of China. What? You know, the black community of Japan, right? Black in Japan. And I'm like, I'm saying to myself,
I mean, are they building strength in numbers where they're just gonna populate
all
and
they do,
populate?
you see what's going on. Dubai just kicked all of them out.
All of
Dubai,
who out?
all the black people out of Dubai, all the Africans out of Dubai.
All African countries?
Yeah, they like 37 African countries. They said they suspended their visas immediately. Said y'all got to get the hell out.
I mean,
Dubai,
what could have went wrong?
because they saying you guys, they come over there and they stay forever. They're not contributing anything. Unlike other people trying to tell us how great they're doing overseas. They take pictures like they're balling out of control, everything. And Dubai is like, these people are not adding nothing to the society but poverty, burdening the system and everything like that, you know? And so they all getting kicked out right now. They got to go back to Africa and everything like that with nothing, you know? And they don't want their maids. They don't want anything. They're just, y'all just got to go. You know, and the only country in Africa really was Angola. They know better not to do it in Angola. You know, Angola's the only country they didn't suspend. They know better because the United Arab Emirates have a lot of business in Angola, particularly the airlines and stuff like that. You know, so they're not going to do it with Angola. But these other countries, Angola and South Africa, they didn't do it. But Botswana and a couple other countries, right? But with Nigerians, they say you got to go. And last week they kicked a whole bunch of Nigerians out that started. And then everybody said, oh, it's poor Nigerians. And a week later, they said all the rest of y'all got to go. No more visas. Your current visas revoked. Get the hell out, you know, and get the hell out of the country. Why? Because you, instead of building your own country up, right, where you could be proud, right, where you got people, foreigners who go to Africa feeling like they own the place. You know, they own the place. Oh, you can't kick me out. You need me. When are we going to, as the black man, going to have a country of our own where we don't have to deal with all that? Where we have privilege. Am I not supposed to say that? Where's my place of black privilege? Where's a place where I'm catered to? Where the people in the currency look like me? And not only that, the currency ain't like 1 million to $1 US. Where the currency is just as strong as the US dollar. Where's a place where I can go to, I see tall buildings, people coming out of our stock exchange and young, I see professionals going, where's our Wall Street? You know, where's our industries? Where's our military? Where's all this stuff like this that I'm talking about? You know, where's our industrial states? The Japanese could look over and see Mitsubishi and Sumitomo building ships. That gives you pride. This is my country, my nation. This is my sanctuary. This is my home. I don't have that. When I'm in America, I know this is a white country. You know, it's a white man's country. And I know I'm playing second fiddle to a white man. Now, some people would love to be over here playing second fiddle, but I think black Israelite Jews are chess move. Come on, bro. Those black people don't come from Israel. They come from Africa. You know, why are they in the white ass, desert ass Israel to about chess move? Negroes need to stop this nonsense. They're Cherokees, they're Jews, they're what else does it talk about? You know, they're Moors, they're every place but Black Africa building something. You never see nobody talking about I'm repping Benin, you know, I'm repping Benin to the heart. I'm repping the Congo, you know, never happens, you know. Negroes are every place in the world. They always put someplace where the infrastructure is at and social welfare, you know. So
Yeah, sorry to hear about those situations, but what these things are forcing us as a people to do is to build the African continent for African people, for us as a people.
We as black people in America
So with all the rejection should put us, you know, in sync. You know, well, you hope anyway, but it's not. But you know, everybody's pushing us in that direction, and
right.
You know,
well, and the whole thing is this. So we'll look at America right now, right? We take it for what it is. I say like this: why you're in America? I said at the top of the show, right? Master the shit, right? You know, master contracting with the government, make all this money. There's grant money wherever there is resources. Grab that shit. You know, get your education, get all that stuff like that. If the Biden administration is giving people over the age of 40 money to go back to school, go back to school. Get that shit. Get all the resources you can. That's how we become strong. You know, once you basically become strong, then you're going to do something with it. It's like you go working out and punching a bag. Pretty soon you want to go punch somebody else, right? Because you feel like you could do it. But if you're beaten down and weak and everything like that, you're going to be like, oh, what are we going to do, Kala? We're going to do.
Yeah.
If you're strong and you said, damn, man, I just got like 3 degrees in civil engineering and shit like that, you ready. You know, I got this. I participated in this project right here. I got a resume and everything like that. You want to do something. I can't. You like, I can do this. I can do this. I got my skills. That's how you know you can contribute to the cause, you know? Learn how to play chess stage. I don't want to play no chess stage on the world stage, you know? I don't play a chess stage. All that chess stage in the world stage mean nothing, man. All I see is Negroes scattered all over the world. You got Nigerian women on the roadside in Spain as prostitutes and whatnot, you know, selling their bodies and whatnot. It's a shame. You know, those are black women. I see them as black women, you know, selling their body to white men on the side of the road in Spain and Italy and whatnot. It's a shame. You know, they're global chess where black people are suffering. People are drowning in the Mediterranean Sea right now. That's a global chess move. You know, everybody wants to justify going overseas, suffering in somebody else's country rather than staying home and building, educating themselves and building their own country. You know, and that's what I said earlier. I said I'm going to offend people, and I am going to offend people. People don't want the truth. The truth is, black people, the Africans, need to go back to the continent, right? You got 30,000 Nigerian students in India. You said they just got beat up, you know, after the soccer game where India lost. The dudes beat the hell out of these Nigerians, right? They're beaten up and whatnot, you know. I thought Nigerians were tough. Indians beat these guys beat them up badly, brutalize them. There's 30,000 Nigerians studying in India, New Delhi, you know. And I'm saying to myself, what the hell are you doing in India? India's is dusty. That's a raggedy ass country. And you were in India. You know, why aren't y'all building?
You know, our people got visa access to go, you know, all over the world. So wherever can accept the situation. But you know, we're gonna have to change that brain drain because that's been the problem the last several hundred years. All of the talents, the potential have been taken out of the continent from one form to the next. You know, from
and
academic
the Afrikstan is about bringing the brain back to the
exactly. So that's why we're plugging people into learning skills, building business, and building this international connection,
and
then
building business networks and stuff like that. You know.
So this is the hardcore work of nation building, you know. So if we have a bunch of uneducated people or a bunch of people who don't want to learn new skills and progress and organize themselves together, we're not going to pull this off. So family, very difficult situation, but what choice do we have? I don't see any other choice we have. You know, so that's why
more humiliation.
Yeah, that's why we talk about, you know, Pan-Africanism toward nationhood. We always talking about that chick that you always talk about. I hate to call people titles and name, Malty Megan. I think that's the only time I usually see these little nasty Pan-African titles. You know, like she just like a little, like she just obsessed with this Pan-Africanism is failure and dead. It's like, why, you know, it's like, even if it is, say it is, what is your solution? Your solution is to separate your people who have, you know, instead of trying to put the best of your people to make some move. You know, they
don't have that.
Their theory is so flawed. Or only FBAs get reparations. I was like, good luck on even getting reparations and things like that.
Let me say something about the reparations movement, right? The reparations movement is nothing but an attempt to prolong against Pan-Africanism of nation building. You know, the end game is, like we concluded years ago with the BAIO, is that nationhood is in the Afrikstan is the only solution, right? Once you do that, right, check us out. It's one thing for other people, third world people, go to one country or another. It's another thing to have the most powerful group of black people on the planet saying that it's time to part ways with America. That's going to basically throw the whole globe into a cultural and geopolitical conundrum. You know, black people in America talk about building in Africa. Now they could manage it. They can go the year of the return. You go there, take some pictures with Nancy Pelosi and Kim Kardashian. That they can live with that, you know. But when you talk about basically it's time for black people in the world to start stepping out of America, right, and talking to other countries, right? Let me give you an example, right? Other people around the world would love to hear our story, Black America, right? And when we go to overseas, right, and we say we're building over here, right, there's a lot of people who don't like the United States who are going to make sure that we succeed. They're gonna like, oh wow, you guys are doing this, right? This is what this is all about. These people that want to stop us, right? These people want us to be America only Negroes. In other words, our history, like Langston Hughes said, is a shore to shore mentality. That means a black man in America is only defined by the white man's manifest destiny. That means that the white man sees his destiny as sees a shining sea in Hawaii, in Alaska. We're supposed to see ourselves, see the shining sea, Hawaii and Alaska. What the hell has that got to do with us? That was the Europeans march across this continent. Our manifest destiny has to be manifest destiny has to be building someplace of our own space. Let me tell you about space. Like in the Infinity Gauntlet, space, the space stone, right? When you have space, right, you control space, right? You control the laws, you control the economy, you control the culture, you control everything when you have space. Right now, America is a white man, the white European space. And basically what happens is how you benefit in America is either you're white or you think white and you will benefit in that space. Soon as you go against that, as Kanye's saying, right, they will destroy you. They'll tolerate you in this space if you know how to behave. If you're a Shaquille O'Neal, if you're a LeBron James or whoever like that, a sports star, Snoop Dogg, you're in that space. You better be smiling and buck dancing and basketball slamming. And that's the only way they tolerate you in their space. In their space, they're the master. Now they know they always win when it comes down to it. They always win, and they always know they're gonna win, right? But
Because if nothing else, they'll blackball you, right?
yeah,
They'll whiteball you.
yeah. And bottom line, this is their space. They're meant to win. But here's the Kala Genesis, right? I don't like being second fiddle to no one, right? When I realized when I was a kid that somehow that the country I once believed in, America, held me as a second-class citizen, I rejected America. Because I don't feel my family and who I am is inferior to nobody. And then I find out that America, not only that America rejects me, but America goes around the world spreading propaganda against me. I never forget this. When I was a kid, right? I read my World Book Encyclopedia, but I never forget when I was like around 13. And I was always interested in Japan, right? So I read the thing on Tokyo. Tokyo, second largest city in the world, right? Well, okay, I'm reading Tokyo, right? And they said crime in Tokyo. It said this in World Book Encyclopedia. This like, and I'm gonna find the old World Book Encyclopedia to prove that I was saying I was right. They said Tokyo does not have. When I say buck dance, I mean just basically he's likable. I mean LeBron James is I just saw him on an iPhone commercial. Do you think Kala Genesis will be on an iPhone commercial? No. Do you think Bomani Tyehimba will be on an iPhone commercial? No.
If you pay me enough money.
No, but do you think they will ever let us? You will let us?
Yeah, exactly. No.
But they have LeBron, despite everything, right? But LeBron James doing right. The only reason why they like him because he was talking shit about Trump. That's it. But the whole thing is, LeBron James is not Kala Genesis. He's not. He's just not what it is. And so therefore, he's accepted. I'm never going to be accepted by America. Anyway,
hey, I love the word buck dancing.
Yeah. And the bottom line, he's doing what he has to do. Yeah, he's managed opposition. He says things and sounds militant, wears Black Lives Matter shirts and everything. That's all stuff white people could deal with. Same to Colin Kaepernick, That was a joke. That was a freaking joke. And so
it's what it is, our family. Yeah. I mean, people have to play these little games to make it work.
Yeah, that's what it is. But I'm not going to play.
We're not knocking anyone's hustle because we're not in their position and we don't have their careers and things.
I know.
And things
like I said, that's the path they chose. I can't do that. I can't be a liar.
And that's why we just tell people this is what we're talking about. We're real about what we're talking about. This is not this is just a foundation of where we just operating from. And Afrikstan is the end game, literally just making that move. So I know people asking, when y'all moving to Africa, when y'all doing this and everything.
Oh, we're gonna do it. Trust me, bro.
How about you write us the check and we'll move as soon as possible.
Man, if I had $5 million, bro, I'd be out tomorrow.
But
I wouldn't say goodbye.
But but it's one thing I'm always tell people, I will help anyone make their move there, but you gotta have your enterprise rocking and rolling there. But we're gonna build fresh, because the thing of it is, when we're telling people we need to build fresh towns and fresh enterprises with modern day infrastructure as we need to. That way we can run operations and compete to the highest level. Now, if I can have that built, I'm good.
Yeah.
But first I have to get that built. So, you get the land, you get this organized, you do as much as you can do, but it's like, you're telling people,
the bottom line
we need the rest of our people to join the party to make this really work. Other than that, we're gonna make it work. But it's like, if you want it done a little more efficient, then more people have to join in. And I'm telling people, after showing people what you're doing, you're looking at, it's what it is. It's like, if we were two other people, without calling any other race of people, I mean, I think all the things that you and I I don't think we could. I don't think we'd have to waste our time doing YouTube videos or anything.
No, we wouldn't have to do this, man. If it was any other race of people, man, this would already be happening. They wouldn't have to have these conversations,
And the thing of it is, and we know that because that's what goes on. When people are building, like when we talk about people who control industries, it's like, that's where we're moving to. Is like, we have to move towards that area, and in order to get there, we have to put our money where our mouth is and build these institutions.
What I would like to know is, before I get back to that Japanese story.
Sure, go ahead.
What I'd like to know is, we're having a Black Enterprise magazine. At one time,
remember that was the business, right? When I was younger.
We used to have people, that was so inspiring, right?
Yeah, when I was a teenager, I remember that magazine.
But now all we have is
I remember reading that magazine also.
Sports stars. And
just like I remember reading Jet and Ebony. Back in our days.
Back in our days, right?
But now, old guys.
Check this out. But back to the Japanese, right? Then I read one part where it said crime and stuff like Japan. They said the reason why Tokyo has such a low crime rate because Tokyo doesn't have any large minority groups like America has. I was like, now imagine me as a kid. I got my American flag. I'm an American, right? And be thrown on the bus like that,
I'm telling you, man, the things people come up with.
But this is in World Book Encyclopedia, and it's like they knew I was going to watch it. Saying, we know Kyle's going to watch it. Let me put it in there.
They just sneak information in. That's what I tell people.
I'm like, what the hell?
And that's why you tell people we have to spend time analyzing what we've been told, because,
So basically, what they're saying is all the problems in America are Black people. If they just say get rid of Black people and we will have crime, and a lot of white people use that. See, if America didn't have Black people, we would have crime. And a lot of this stuff is true. If they say American test scores are way down, that's because if you take away all the inner city failing schools, right? American test scores are above everybody else.
Brother, that's like breaking somebody's leg and calling them a cripple.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, all right, we have the projects.
Right.
It's like, so you're asking people, how do we get projects?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then how do we get the education system we have? Then how do we get drugs in our community? How do we get guns, and how do we, have a rotation of our own people in the system?
They basically will say,
it's like, I'm saying you're breaking someone's leg, but then you call them a cripple. It's like, let me understand how that makes sense.
They'll say is, well, look at these Asians over here, Indians. They're not committing crimes.
But you're not breaking their leg. You're
coming over here on a different situation,
And then you're not sabotaging them.
You're sabotaging. You give them all the resources and connections. Why? Because they want to constantly justify America. Justify America.
The fact that we even here, it's doing what we're doing as a people, is unbelievable, because you're talking about literally this consistent opposition, sabotage, roadblocks, this systematic things.
Redlining.
And even some of the things that I'm not here to validate anything Kanye say, or any person that's not putting their money where their mouth is dealing with us. But you hear people like himself say what they say, and it's like. And I'm telling people, I was like, yeah, this is the world you live in. You either we either build domination or get dominated. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, at least have some power in our own continent.
And at the bottom line, that's what we want. But we know until Africa stands up, we're never going to be weak. And we have to be part of Africa. We have to be part. That's why the Afrikstan is so important. We need our best and brightest on the continent building. Pan African city states and whatnot all over the continent, right? That
Yes,
we're plugged
man.
into. Then we got a chance. As long as we're all stuck here in America, right? Or then we do go to Africa, we're not. We're not. We need more people like Rosenthal on the continent that's sitting down with presidents and stuff like that on that level. We need that sort of level of building on the African continent to make this work. We need people like Bomani sitting down with presidents and stuff like that, saying, "This is what we're doing. This is what we're networking. This is what we can do. This is what we show we can do. And if we had the
Yeah,
support, this is
absolutely.
what we can do."
We need some good support because last I remember, man, it's just like even yourself, you know how it is. It's like you turn around and it's just like even with the chat itself, or just even just the chat itself is like the amount of hate you get. So that's why people, that's why children, when you talk to them, ain't none of them tell you they want to lead no black operation or no black organization or anything black. I mean, and that's what I'm telling people. It's like whenever people are progressing and doing certain things, and y'all do these things, all y'all do is discourage people. Because people
Yeah.
like, I'm not strong as Bomani, so people tell me that all the time. I was like, I'm not strong like that either. But I was like, what are my options? It was like, yes, it would be nice to hit a button and go back to the U.S. Navy or go back to one of my other careers that say I'm not gonna mess with these people, but you're in too deep. You're in something.
We're in too deep. We can't
You're
step
into
back now.
something that we see that is like I can't sit around in this is just what we have for the future of our children. I mean, to me that to me you look at yourself as a failure as a man.
Right.
Like, I mean, that we built nothing to change the dynamics of our children. All we did was partying and women and boats and this and that.
Mm-hmm.
Did we invest our money into black institutions? And that's what I'm telling people that I can't respect you if you're not gonna put your money where your mouth is. Now I may
Right.
agree with you on certain things, but it's like it's like let's I'm putting beyond just even putting your money and your time, your work, your energy. Like you always call me out and you like I'll be telling you like on the go working,
Mm-hmm.
working, one way or another, working, putting business in, putting work in, and getting it done. And when you at one point I thought it was like a whole bunch of people that would be with us, but even when
Yeah.
people are supposed to be with you, they with you, but they're way back, meaning that they may financially support you or things. But when you talk about giving your time, your energy, and making sure that we build what we need to build, that's the situation. So family, I'm telling you, our Black Star Pan African community, we're there, and I've made it through those years, getting things together, and even operating the majority from here, which is an ingenious move. Like
Yeah.
people always tell me all kind of things. I was like, you talk all the stuff you want to talk. I can get more done in this office than you could do flying around the country. And I'll tell them for one reason, because I have established connections and business people that you're doing business with. And all you have to do is get on your phone, call people, communicate with people, do what you need to do in business, and things get done. While you're running around spinning your wheels, we're getting things done. So I told people, join the party and let's do this together and make some things happen. And for people who just want to learn about the African continent, we have the name, number, email address, website there, for
You
you to.
want to join this, right? Like I said, if you want to help Bomani help yourself go on one of his tours, and like I said, we need people join the BAO social network, right? And like I said, next year I'm gonna basically make it know that I'm gonna have group meetings. I'm gonna make sure that COVID's over, so we can go start having group meetings again in each city and everything like that. We have the Black Star Pan African community and the BAO working together, and we're having lectures and stuff like that. We're going around with lectures, and because I'm gonna do some in my area, Bomani will do some down there. We need other people basically spreading the message out there that we're building this movement and everything like that. And when it starts gaining momentum, and it's gonna move beyond YouTube and social network and everything like that. We're on the ground, everything. I'll come out to your city. Next year I will definitely come out to your city if you want to put together a study group or whatever like that. And also the study group is not just sitting around talking about racism, white supremacy. Another thing is stop with this reparation stuff. You know, all
But
it
you
is
said,
is that
who
all it
sits
is a
around and
waste
talk? Who sits around and talk about racism, white supremacy all
and
day,
reparations.
and reparations? So is that are those the three topics?
Racism, white supremacy, reparations. You
Racism.
know?
I mean, are those real? Are those real things that we all need to know about?
Exactly. That's what they do.
100%. But
Check this out. I remember one time
can
some guy
we?
called into O'Shea's show, right? And we was talking about some other topic, right? And this guy called in talking about, I think we should change the topic. We'll start talking about reparations. O'Shea said, man, if you don't get your dusty ass off my channel and whatnot, he said, man, who the hell you calling my show? We should be talking about something relevant. He's like, nigga, you get a job, it's about reparations and shit, Reparations is just a distraction. It's not productive. You're never gonna get no money in your bank account. How about that? And then he's called me, Kala, you're a hater. No, I'm just telling you the reality.
Brother,
Start.
how long have been?
You've been
How
talking
long
about
has people been talking about it since you've been in? Since you're before Blog Talk or after Blog Talk?
Yeah, but see, everybody might come around with that stuff, right? And also reparations didn't pick up until the Pan-African movement started gaining steam. And it's all it is a distraction. Basically, we're talking about building in Africa, traveling, connecting, building. Not only that, we're united, man. Nigerians that were Pan-Africans, Ghanaians are Pan-Africans. We're all sitting there having study groups and everything. And along comes this ADOS, FBA, reparations. Oh, they're trying to get our reparations check and all that, separating us by background and stuff like that. All this divisive stuff. And people actually sit back, both sides going back and forth. I'm not going to have a debate with nobody about no damn reparations and no ADOS, FBA nonsense, foundational Black American. What the hell is that, You ain't no foundational America. Let me tell you something about foundational Black America. We're not foundational America, right? Black people have moved from the Great Migration to the north, right? To the south, back to the north, to the west, some to the African continent. We haven't had a foundation in America since we've been here. We've been shuffling all over the place. How many times, Bomani, you see somebody, hey, oh, I'm living in Chicago now. Nigga, why didn't you plant some? You was over here and there for years. Now you was like, white people, they'll live in one state, they're born there and they'll die there. That's foundational. The same white people who fucked my ancestors over in North Carolina are still the fuck there. They didn't go to Chicago or New York or Philadelphia. They're still there. Why? Because they're foundational white Americans. You might have white people who are in the military or may go out west or whatever like that. But for the most part, like remember the movie Casino, where that guy said to Robert De Niro, said, "Oh, you guys just are visitors here." White people are the foundation of this country. Everything you see. Yeah, you don't have to. You go to any state and whatnot and everything. You don't see Black people, foundational Black America Street. Black people own everything. We got to check in with them. No, Black people are just basically you're there. You're there. You might be a mayor here, there, but you are not no foundational. Because as soon as jobs comes from someplace else, whatever, your ass is gone. Where's he gone? Man, I know so many people that I knew in Virginia, they're gone now. Why? Because they go to other places of opportunity. White people don't have to do that. They come and they'll go into your hood. I see today, I was doing an appointment with somebody today, and I looked over at one of these new houses in the heart of Berkeley Avenue. You remember Berkeley Avenue? Over there, Diggs Town and all that over there. I seen this one house, right? Like it was remodeled, right? And I look inside, the middle of the hood, projects on one side, and the house on the other side. This guy has all Boston stuff in his window. Boston Red Sox, Boston this, and New England Patriots. That's a white guy. I said, what the hell's he doing here?
What he's doing? He's a foundation person that's setting up to take
he's setting up
over
his white
that neighborhood.
America shit, right in your hood.
And so even neighborhoods that people thought was raggedy or
white people,
and nobody want to be there and everything.
White people are buying them joints up and bringing more white people in there. And pretty soon, y'all gonna be gone.
Yes, because I went back to Brooklyn, New York, back to my family house, and yeah, it's not exactly in that area in Flatbush, but the other parts, I was moving around. It's amazing, and the thing that I would always say is to give people a tip, not even just a tip, but when we were younger, I left New York when I was 18. none of us thought that the real estate would be valued. We always knew, New York is always that, that city where real estate is just always ridiculous, and you have an opportunity to come up in real estate. But none of us thought literally, we was even talking about that the hood where we came from and other places where you see empty lots and places like that it would just be where you come back. I couldn't find one empty lot, brother.
Yeah.
It was all built up, developed, and things like that. And you saw people moving around freely. Like I literally saw a police unit, and I was like, the only time I remember seeing police units is when the shells are dropped, bodies are down, or just drama is gone. But they're actually doing real police work. So I'm not here to just knock any development and things. I'm telling people that whether we like the situation or not, whatever we feel that's going to be the hood, or whether we feel like it's a dark continent and things. Last I remember, Black people live as far as the best weather, best location to where everything is happening and things like that. And other people are realizing it, and they're that's why you see beachfront property in Caribbean islands all gone, and so we have to just learn to be investors, and it's not too late. But after a while, everybody's going to own everything, and we only thing we can contribute is to be workers. And I'm not
Workers,
leaving the generation to be
underclass,
no slaves to no whites and no Asians.
and
when we had a chance to enterprise to another level and build.
Now Latinos make white racists make they're buying up properties and gentrifying, and they're becoming the new white people out in California. The Latinos basically say, "Yo, why should the white people have all the fun?"
Exactly, and that's what I'm saying. We didn't put our money together to buy up these properties so we can invest in it now. I mean, there'll be a tip.
Safe, make our neighborhood safe. Now, you know something? I thought about something today, right? Something came to me today, right? Because I had this whole thing, the hood, fuck the hood and everything. But I was in the hood today, right? Real hood, right? And it dawned on me. I said,
We're getting shot at.
It dawned on me. I had anger came in me, right? I said, look, if I get shot, fuck it. I'm dead. I'm gone. I don't care anymore, right? And so I went up to a bunch of older brothers, man. They say, "Hey, young man, whatever." Like that. I told you about that. He's like, "Yeah."
I was on the phone. I was on the phone with you.
Yeah. No, that was afterwards. That was afterwards, right? Before that, right? And I'm gonna go back to that place because they like good business. I'm gonna write some business off of them brothers, right? Anyway, I was talking to brothers like, "Yeah, we're building a casino out here." The older brothers and whatnot, sitting there talking, and they were just so glad I stopped to talk to them and whatnot, right? And I had clients in that building when I know a couple of these guys are probably my sister's clients, whatever like that. So I didn't mess with them, whatever like that. Get them no new plans or whatever like this. But I said to myself, man, and I saw one fine sister. She was walking up the steps as one building that my client was in, right? And I was like, whoa, she girl look good, man. I was like, whoa, she was cute, man. It was cutie, man, right? Anyway, babe, she's like, how you doing? Whatever like that. And then it dawned on me, right? I said, what this community needs is me. It needs more people like me, right? We need to start basically going to these hoods, the dangerous hoods and whatnot, and just making a presence, Let the people know that we're with them, If it's not just going around, just sitting around, just saying hello, Where our community is broken up because we see, just like, be honest with you, in Huntsville today, right? I was supposed to work out there today. A 18-year-old kid was killed, But the thing is, that's what you got to do, And people say, I can't do that, Kala. I can't but me as a leader, I gotta do that. I gotta be out there and basically make my presence known. When they see me, I'm walking around my shirt and tie. They know I'm somebody different. They know I'm not no hood, whatever like that. People give me respect. How you doing? Hey, how you doing, bro? How you doing, brothers? How you doing? You heard them brothers talking to me. And so and basically make yourself known and everything like that. That's part of it. Why? Because when you tell them your story, what you want to do is say, look, yeah, I know none of these people are going to go to Africa. I know these people are never going to leave it. That's their fate. But we're saying, look, and you are part of something that we're building. That's the message I'm going to have for 2023. You may not make it to the promised land, but the bottom line is this. You are part of something. When we tell people that you could be homeless, whatever like that, but when you tune into this show, if you believe in your people, you love your people, and you want to do the right thing, you're part of us. You're part of us. We need your energy and we need your spirit. And that's how this is going to work. We're going to work. So therefore, those of us who are professionals and everything like that, and everything, you should basically have some sort of connection with the people. The people may not be like that, but the bottom line is this, though. When people start seeing you're part of the community and everything, they're like, wow, this is what I want to be part of, and everything like that. These guys are building in Africa, and they're pretty cool. They come around, they say hello, they volunteer at the pantry, they volunteer at the soup kitchen and everything like that, and they're basically connecting and conversating and politicking, and then laughing and joking. Bring back the good old times in Black America, where we laughed and fellowship together, that we were people. Social media has so fragmented Black America that we're at each other's throats. We hate each other. Black men hate Black women. Black women, Black people, middle class hate poor Black people. Middle class people hate Black rich people, and all this kind of divisive nonsense that basically allows for something like an ADOS FBA to come in and give you some sort of pseudo identity and stuff like that. That's what the hell happened, If we basically tell people all the time, the Pan-Africans got your back. We may not have all the money that the LeBron James and all these other people have, right? But we do believe in your salvation. Okay? We do believe in making you proud one day. That you're going to look at us one day and say, yeah, that's what we're a part of. That's what I'm proud of. And everything. And so one thing I'm never going to do is make my people ashamed of me, or I'm never going to be ashamed of my people, people are down. One day we'll be able to lift a hand and pull you up. If you reach your hand halfway, I'll reach my hand halfway, and we could pull each other up, and we could pull each other to safety. So that's what we're talking about. And this is what the topic of the show tonight. What can we do? What can we do? Imagine if we had that sort of mentality, right? If we had Black businessmen, right? Well, let me put it like this, right? We need real Black businessmen in America. We need people that call shots, that got the final say on everything from top to bottom. We need that sort of environment. America has never accepted that. Anytime you see a rich Black man, you always see one thing. What? His partner, his sponsor. They always show you that, okay, he's rich, but look who he hangs around with. And they do it right in our face. Jay-Z. I'm not going to knock Jay-Z. It's not like that, right? But this is what I'm talking about, right? Jay-Z is at all the Met Gallery and all this stuff like this. His friends are rich white people and everything, He's sitting around these rich white people and everything like that. But we say, oh, yeah, Jay-Z can't represent you. Those white folks, 50 Cent, those white folks that he does business with. Those are his partners. Those are who he caters to. We don't have any real businessmen on that level that basically says that I came from Black America. I made my money with Black America, right? I employ Black America. I sell to Black America. And this is where I'm going to do. We don't have that. We don't have an Earl Graves anymore. We don't have a John Johnson of Ebony Magazine. We don't have that sort of Black America anymore. Now everybody's compromised. So therefore, like I said, going forward, right, in the Pan-African world, we have to produce those Pan-African billionaires and millionaires. That's the only way we're going to survive. We have to create the Pan-African millionaires and billionaires. And we can only do that by the end game of an Afrikstan, by building on the African continent, right? And basically working with Africans who are Pan-Africans and Africans who are shot callers on the African continent, right? To build this sort of Pan-African business world, right? And it has to be unapologetically Pan-African. That our goal is Pan-African. Asians don't apologize for being Pan-Asian. You saw the Bandung Conference in 1955, okay? That was unapologetically Pan-Asianism. And because they were unapologetically Pan-Asianism, right? They had no fear of the white man, they had no fear of the CIA. They pulled it off, right?
Wow,
Chinese
no fear of
businessmen,
Thanos.
no fear of the Thanos and whatnot. They were like the Avengers and whatnot, Endgame, and so therefore, they built a whole Asian infrastructure up, ports, shipping companies, bankings, industries. Everything was Asian, owned, Asian managed, Asian controlled, Asian logistics and everything. That's how they control Asia. All the European companies that used to control all the ports in Asia were gone. Asia's built now. The Asian companies, shipping ports, container shipping. Right, Singapore has the largest shipping fleet in the world. Little tiny island, 300 square miles, have one of the largest shipping fleets in the world. How is that possible? They wanted to do it. They spoke it into existence.
Yes, brother, get into it. Yes.
They spoke
Yes.
it into existence. They say we're going to do this, right? And the Asians have a philosophy: the nail that sticks, the nail that sticks up gets knocked down. They don't have a bunch of people saying, "Oh, why this, why that?" Right? Everybody falls into line. You know, I'll fall into line, but mine fall into line. Everybody will fall into line and understand your rank and your hierarchy. You know,
Absolutely. Let's
understand
go.
green rises to the top. All right, brother.
Uh, and make sure greetings are big black. Welcome to the call. Make sure your mic is nice and clean and your background is clean and perfect.
Okay. Can you all hear me? Is my mic clear?
Loud and clear.
Hey, Kala, I got a question. Maybe a little bit off topic, but the IMF. I want to ask you about like China's like big bank and Russia's big bank. Are they under the IMF, or how does that work?
No, no. First of all, these countries are bigger than the IMF. Let me tell you about the IMF and the World Bank, right?
Mm-hmm.
These institutions were designed, right, in place of, right? It was almost better when the Europeans colonized Africa directly, because at least they had some responsibility. In 1944, I believe it was, right, in Bretton Woods, New Hampshire, right, toward the end of World War II, they said, how are we going to basically rebuild Europe and still maintain control over our colony, mainly Africa, the colonies, Central America, South America, and Asia. So in Bretton Woods, New Hampshire, they had the Bretton Woods Group, right? They formed a thing called the Trilateral Commission, right? This commission would meet several years to discuss world affairs and stuff like that. They established a thing called the CIA, the Central Intelligence Agency, right? They established the World Bank, the International Monetary Fund, right? Then they established a thing called the World Health Organization, the World Trade Organization. None of this existed before 1944. Now, on the whole, right, what they did was they said, look, we can't just basically control Africa. So what they're going to have to do is this. They're going to have to recruit Africans and people in the third world to do their bit under the guise of development. Now, China basically didn't need that, didn't need that, right? They rejected that and everything because it was just too big. Russia too, So these, the IMF and the World Bank, right, was set up to develop countries that could not get funding or underwriting, right, because they were too risky, right, too risky. And they would give you loans for major infrastructure projects like dams and stuff like this. But the thing is, though, on the surface, on paper, that looked like it would work, right? But what really happened was they basically put money in the hands of military dictators and stuff like that that did their bidding. And a lot of these countries spent the money and ran up debt and everything, and they kept getting loans from IMF, right? They get free money. We give you IMF loans and aid and everything, right? So long as basically you kept their flow of raw materials, cash crops, and stuff like that, and you basically could not have tariffs on certain items. That means Nigeria figured out that why are we freaking importing rice, right? We could grow it ourselves. Well, since they were on the IMF, they couldn't do that. You had to import rice. You had to all the secondhand cars and stuff like that were dumped in these countries. So these countries like, okay, we got these loans from IMF, but we have no the things about sovereignty is you could have tariffs, you could tax and everything, and the IMF would have structural adjustment programs, right? Which means basically they'll tell what the countries what to grow, what to export, what not export. Nigeria figured out during Abacha, like, why are we exporting rice or chicken or whatever we're exporting grains, where when we importing the same stuff to feed our chickens and stuff like this? Why don't we just produce for local consumption? Produce what you consume what you produce. and get rid of structural adjustment, right? Abacha did that, and Nigeria's inflation rate went from 85% down to 5%, right? And to this day, it's Abacha was a crook, and everyone, no, Abacha was the best president. He was a military dictator, but he was the best man Nigeria ever had in its history. Because basically, because of Abacha, later on we have somebody like Aliko Dangote. Dangote, I'm not really satisfied with what he's doing, but because his thing about Africans controlling their commodity imports and stuff like that themselves, instead of having it dumped on them, Dangote got into the commodities business and started importing things like salt, sugar, rice, and everything. And he started producing his own cement and everything. Once he has a market, and Dangote made his billions inside Nigeria. Showed you can make money inside of Nigeria, rather than basically exporting. So Nigeria had the big domestic market, right? And started doing things like liquefying natural gas, right? And not only liquefying natural gas, right? They talk about liquefying natural gas for domestic use too. I have no problem with Dangote, but Dangote is a little antiquated. He's good for the time period. He gave Africa a big boost and everything like that, but his model is antiquated. I don't know whether because of Dangote's a northerner, Fulani, and there's a lot of jealousy and stuff like that. Nigeria has never been able to put together a business consortium underneath Dangote. Like I said, didn't I say earlier, Bomani, how you have a tiered system? You have one person on top, and then you have other businesses on the middle and other business on the bottom and everything working together.
Yes, absolutely.
That
Yes.
has not happened in Nigeria yet. That
Similar
has
to
not.
to conglomerate or this nation
Consortium
building.
and stuff like that, a pyramid, type of system. Where Nigerians, where the things float up and down and everything, vertical and horizontal integration of businesses and everything. That has not happened. So Dangote, when he builds something, a plant and everything, he has to outsource it to foreigners. He has not built. Nigeria has not built up a secondary supply system or business system to support the Dangote group. Had he did that right, Dangote would be worth $100 billion instead of staggering at 18 billion. And so therefore, now that Nigeria would have 100 billionaires in this country, and it would have millionaires and everything, millionaires and everything, and that basically you probably integrate. And when we talk about integration in Africa, right? I want to see integration of businesses. That's what people don't talk about. You need to integrate in African society. Why don't we integrate African business society together? Am I right? Am I telling you anything wrong, Bomani? No. Integrate. What about integrating business? You can't have one group of people controlling everything, and you come over here. And I see a lot of black people in America. That's why I love what I see in the Congo with Rosenthal. Black Americans are being asked to come to Angola and Congo to integrate to the business sector. All the cultural stuff will follow next. But we need black banks and businesses working together across the continent, integrating and supplying each other like the Asians did. Did I answer that, big black brother?
Yeah. Got another question. Would you say that the IMF is an arm of the World Bank?
The IMF and the World Bank are two in the same. You got the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund. The International Monetary Fund really is designed with collecting the money and making sure that the World Bank is where people put money in, where developed countries put money in, right? Mm-hmm. And the money, and they underwrite a lot of debt or cancel a lot of debt of developing countries. So therefore, if you want to have a road built and everything, your country basically need money and everything. Normal banks and stuff like that will say, your economy, they look at your economy, you don't have the tax base or whatever like that to pay it back. You go to the World Bank, you go to the World Bank approve it, and the International Money, but everyone give the money out to basically to the person. And in other countries, the World Bank will collect, on behalf of the donor country that's basically supplying it, But that's really how it really works, That's really how it works. So therefore, like I said, countries like China is a creditor nation. You know, that means it loans money to institutions like the World Bank and the IMF and stuff like that. You know, it's a creditor nation, it's a donor nation. Okay, we don't have any black donor nations yet. You know, we just don't.
And one more question. And I just thought of this about the whole Kanye situation. Since it seems like he's getting shut out by a lot of groups that don't like the comments that he made. Wouldn't it make sense for him to have a Pan African approach? This would probably be the greatest opportunity for him to think along the lines of, not saying he's going to do that, but as far as self-reliance, to go in the direction of self-reliance, which would
that would make too much sense, brother. This
Yeah,
guy
that would
like
make too much
attention.
sense.
Yeah, that would like attention, but that would be the ideal thing to do. Absolutely.
that pretty much seems like the only door, one of the two only doors that he has. You know what I mean? It's almost like, I don't know. The door looks wide open for him, and as far as if he goes in a direction where he can be more his even with dealing with banking, anything just to be more autonomous, autonomous. It seems like that would be a good direction to go. So
Yeah,
Let me ask
he
you a
doesn't have to
question.
worry about people.
Yeah, let me ask you a question.
You'd have to learn to be quiet also, man, and keep low. But you love attention. But go ahead,
Right.
Kala.
Yeah, he's basically Michael Rappaport. I don't like him, but he's a Kanye. You're 45, man. Stop acting like a kid, And I like.
I mean, reckless.
Yeah, what does he want to do? Big Black. You may know more about Kanye than I do. What is his main? He wasn't really making money. He made his money when he started doing clothing and sneakers.
Is this a joke?
Yeah. He's from what I'm understanding, that the whole Adidas thing, that Adidas closed the deal with him, but from what I'm understanding is that he's pretty much almost autonomous with his Adidas stuff. He just used them to as a jumping board, but he can still sell his sneakers without Adidas.
But let me ask you. But can he basically the Yee brand, whatever like that? Does he sell enough for that sneaker? Is it the sneaker or the stock? Because a lot of time the name is inflated so much. Kanye, Adidas, and it's all speculation, right? Everything's based on speculation. Your network is a lot of times based on speculation. We speculate that he's gonna sell this many units right here, and everything. Stocks go up, right?
Right.
Because like that, the speculation goes down, right? And you lose a lot of your network, your worth, your worth. I don't know. Does Kanye own his factory? Does he only need production? Does he have factories someplace? Does he have a supply chain? Does he have trucks?
That's the situation.
Yeah,
we're talking about. You have to own as many of those things as possible in business, and usually you don't. So that's you at the mercy to all these people.
I don't know that for sure, but I was looking at some of his interview, and he was saying that he's the richest black person in America. I don't know how true that is, but he says he says he's a billionaire, and the media has to downplay it.
On paper. He's a billionaire on paper. That means basically, if you add up all his potential, you can say he's worth $1 billion because he's going to sell so many X stuff like that, and his stock goes up. By stock and paper, you could be a billionaire one day and be broke the next. Okay. You have to have tangible assets. You have to have the means of production, and you have to have distribution. You have to have marketing and stuff like that. You have to have a captive market. You got to have. Let's say China, Kanye, well, he could pivot to China and say, so I'm going to China, right? I got 1 billion people, like Don King did. Remember Don King when they tried to shut him down on ABC and everything? He went to pay-per-view. The rest is history. He said, we have 1 billion people, and the people of the Republic of China want to see these fights and whatnot. And then the same people that hated him, right? He hired them, those 2 guys that were broadcasters. He hired them he's like, okay, y'all come over here and work for me now. He beat them at their own game. Now let's see, that's something lined up where he has a market, like let's say China, Japan, waiting to pick him up, and he's going global with his stuff and everything like that, but he's pretty much done in the American market.
Okay.
You know, so
yeah, that's pretty much the questions I had. Yeah.
keep on. What do you think about the topic tonight? The topic was, I believe, I talked about certain businesses. I talked about horizontal businesses. I talked about group businesses, supply chains, and stuff like that. That's what you need for the Pan African business system, right? You know, I mean, I'm seeking people. Yeah, I'm going to Africa. What are you gonna do? I'm gonna open up a beach resort and whatnot. Come on,
Yeah.
come on. We need real businesses. We need businesses that are like, what does Ghana need? What does Liberia need? What do these countries need? What do they need? What's their need? What are they lacking in? They're lacking in everything. You know, what skills can you bring to the table? You know, to build. What network do you have back in America? I said earlier tonight. I don't know if you heard it. I said, look, everybody that's talking about business should have a hundred people at least in their business database, Rolodex. People that you rely on a daily basis for information, advice, potential investors, potential sponsors, or somebody you could plug into. That comes from going to business meetings, collecting business cards. And then we
Yeah.
collect business cards, right? And I always say like this: sometimes you collect business cards, like, who is this nigga? I can't remember. Right on the back of a business card where you met the person at, right? And boom, boom, boom. You know what I'm saying? If
Right.
you
Right.
start doing that, man, I know people that got rich just by their business card collections. Connect. Oh, I got a bunch of people who might want to be involved in something and everything. Let's have a Zoom meeting once a month, whatever, like that. Discuss strategies. I got people basically that like that. We need to have investment clubs. Susus. And stuff like that. We need to be, and they have to be localized. Localized.
Yeah.
Big Black. What do you think about? I people like this Jay Morris, but I think what he did was a good idea. His Tulsa group. You heard about him?
Yeah, I heard a little bit about him. I didn't follow him that much though, but I don't know. There was some scam. I heard there was some scandal behind it a little bit.
As long
But
as you're doing something black and progressive, it's always gonna be drama and scandal.
Everybody. When I went, I believe that too. That one, like, he ain't doing nothing. They said, "Oh, he like this." The bottom line, people buy into it. A little $500. What do you think you're gonna do with $500? A $500, right? And
yeah.
that's split between like thousands of people, right? And they said, yeah. He said, I remember he sent out his dividend checks, right? And it was like $27 a piece. He said, yeah, my first dividend. He was so proud, right? But people got a dividend check monthly, $27, right? That's all. $27. That's $27 more than you ever had, and you own part of a building. You showed the building. You own part of this building. You know. And he said it's not a get rich quick scheme. It's long-term investment.
Oh, okay.
One day is $5,000 you're going to invest. One day you might want to invest $50,000. We got bigger projects. My only problem with Jay Morris was he didn't take his thing to Africa. He could have really did well on the continent. As far as like building things like strip malls and stuff like that. Because Africa is definitely a commercial real estate. Definitely.
Yeah, that sounds like something he needs to do. I caught some of that Rosenthal show last week on the back end. Wasn't
Yeah.
there. Yeah, and I was listening to it. The guy seems very knowledgeable. I really wanted to learn more about the leveraging thing. How he was explaining
Hedge
how
fund. He's a
leveraging
hedge
goes.
fund. He's a hedge fund guy.
Oh, okay.
It does is like you put money into once you mine the gold. And Rosenthal and I've been working together for like 12 years. Okay, we worked together 12 years, and I was the one who introduced him to Africa. Because I first met him, he was doing that stuff like that, and I convinced him that Africa is a good place and everything like that. And he went over to Ghana, Liberia, and met with people I know and stuff like that. And he started working from there, and then I introduced some people in Angola and whatnot, and the rest is history. And so the bottom line is, in 2015, we built the African Gold Bullion Bank and Natural Resource Bank, the Natural Bank in Angola. We opened that, right? And you saw him out there on the video and everything like that. I remember that was a big day. But a couple of years later, Dos Santos was out of office, right? And the new president came in, and he told Mr. Rosenthal to leave. He arrested my friend Celeste and put her in jail and stuff like that. And Rosenthal went to the United States, and then he went to Zimbabwe. That's where he met Dr. Arikana, and then she sort of stole the idea of the Afrikstan and started talking about city states called Wakanda. That was like 2018 and everything like that. It was a mess. 2019, Celeste gets out of jail. The first thing she gets out of jail on Christmas Day of 2019, she calls me, and said, "Yeah, Kala, I'm out and whatnot, and we're gonna rebuild the Gold Bullion Bank and everything like that. We're gonna do all stuff like this." So the Gold Bullion Bank now is up, and the gold of the Omega Bullion Trading School Academy is built in the Congo. I mean, teaching the Congolese how to do gold bullion and stuff like that, cryptocurrency, gold back cryptocurrency, hedge funds, and all stuff like that, based on the fact that the gold stays on the African continent in our gold bullion banks. Now we have one of the gold bullion, the Bank of Natural Resource Bank of Angola, and the Gold Bullion Bank in Angola and the Congo. Right now, the Gold Bullion Bank is the way Celeste told me, like if you want to build housing there, right? The way I said, they could build you a community, right? And the bullion bank will pay for the housing and stuff like that, right? And you just pay, I think, like 20% of your salary, whatever it goes towards paying it back, whatever like that. But you can live in nice housing with full infrastructure and everything. That's what they want to build to lift millions of people out of poverty in Africa, So the Gold Bullion Bank's mission is to build African infrastructure, And I built the Black African infrastructure around the specs Mr. Roosevelt sent me 12 years ago. He sent me $150,000 worth of research. He said you can have it, right? And it was everything about nation building. Every country in Africa. I asked him about Africa, so he went to the people in the UN and stuff like that, and they gave him a feasibility study and stuff like this. That was like so many, like hundreds of pages, and it was charts and graphs on each country how to mine diamonds and everything like that, and put them in the Natural Resource Bank. And we actually did create that in Angola and stuff like that. So he told me he has an updated copy he's going to send me, soon. That's on one of my old computers. The PDF. It's like a PowerPoint. It's a PowerPoint, not PDF. It's a PowerPoint. And so basically, everything from building sewer systems to building railways, everything like that, it was put together by these Koreans and these international firms and whatnot. This stuff has been on the books for years, but a lot of times Africans never had the money to build this. So the goal was to build the Gold Bullion Bank, right, to finance this infrastructure to lift Africa out of poverty, irrigation, permaculture, everything, And I said, that's what I want to basically be part of, right? Because I want to bring that to Liberia. And also we're still going to build this in Angola. Angola's already developed pretty much, but that'd be a perfect place to build a city state, And like I said, you got Angolans on board. Yeah. Angola's like, yeah, when you guys coming, man? Coming. I said, look, man, they told me that 2 years ago, and I sent my guys over there. They didn't make it because of COVID. And then and I said, after that, I said, I need somebody that I can get with that's on the ground. And I need somebody that's hardworking, that's dedicated to this. So I looked around, and guess who I picked?
Bomani.
I picked Bomani Tyehimba. I said, this is the man.
Yes.
This is the man that's gonna get the job done. Because when he about the same time, he had just basically purchased the land in Ghana. And I said, now if he up and does this and whatnot, that's basically shows all they want to be convinced is that there's African Americans that want to come to Africa, build and live and stuff like that. That's all they need to be convinced of, and they'll move the money towards us, So I have to go with people that's doing this level of building, and that's why I said Mabani and I are always partners, right? But I said I got to make him the main guy, I got to make him the main guy because I'm really impressed by what Bomani built in Ghana and the hard work he does and everything, the tours he does. Nobody's matched him so far as tours and everything like that, taking over 500-600 people to the continent. It's like I said, this is a time for this. And so, like I said, Rosenthal, he's impressed by what we've been doing, and he thanks me for introducing him to Africa and everything, because he was basically working in Europe and London and Korea and these other places. He rebuilt the housing in Mississippi after Hurricane Katrina. That was him. He opened the first black bank in Mississippi, back in the 80s. So these are the type of people that I'm hooked up with as far as hey. These are the type of people I want to do. You know, this is the type of stuff we want to do, and it all basically has to do with us getting ourselves together and everything like that, getting your skills and everything like that. I believe that when I talk about an alpha, I believe that Mr. Rosenthal could be an alpha. You know, that means that basically once the bullion bank's established and fully up and running in places like Uganda and everything, we should rally around that. You know, that should be our center. You know, the center. You know, and stuff like that. So when he builds a bullion bank in Liberia, I'm definitely moving there. You know, no questions. You know, I'm moving there. I'm relocating. You know, and so therefore, you know, and I want to basically, I got gold miners in Liberia, and you know, I don't want to overpromise them, but I'm putting them people together now. You know, I'm putting them together now, so I'm gonna make a list of people who own gold fields and gold mines, and so therefore, you know, I told them, I said, look, you know, so when the bullion bank comes to Liberia, you don't want to be disorganized. You know, so this is what we're doing as far as like nation building and stuff like that. We have to build infrastructure. Everything we do, the money and everything is about infrastructure. Infrastructure will give you the biggest return on your investment. You know, when you build roads, hospitals, communities, water systems, and everything, schools and infrastructure and everything, the land that's developed will generate wealth, taxes, and all this stuff like that back. You're not going to build anything without infrastructure. Okay. You're always going to be in poverty. You know, when you build on the grid, and the beauty about this is the less land you have, the better, right? Because you want to build. I believe in vertical. That's the one thing we really never worked out between Rosenthal and I, because he always chose to be housing and everything. I say that's good and everything, but I do believe like the Asian model where they span vertically. You know, they build more high rise stuff, high rise apartments and everything, and are better because you can put more people in one densely area, and that's less land and less things for like cable lines and power lines, stuff like that. When you got people more in one small area than you are when they're spread out. You know, too many times in Africa, everyone's spread out, and that's why development is difficult. Yeah, you have to mean more roads you have to build, and they're all spaced out. But if people concentrate in one area, and be honest with you, with black people, Africans have to learn this new sort of living, urban living. You know, this sustainable urban living. They're urban planning cities, like smart, sustainable cities that are living. And go on YouTube to look futuristic cities, right? That the world, the West rejects, right? But these cities can give everybody a high standard of living. You know, shopping centers, everything, libraries, everything within a 5 mile radius. You know,
Right.
along with monorails and stuff like that. You know, so you don't have as many cars on the road and stuff like this. So I look at these smart, sustainable cities and whatnot that they're building for the future. You know, they're building them in Asia and stuff like that. You know, and Africa is still trying to model their develop pattern after Europe and America, which is not sustainable. You know, because a lot of times Africa, everybody wants a big mansion and everything like that. You know, instead of saying, "Yo, look, man, if everybody lived in like Asians, good for that." They spend most of the time outside the house. They're on the streets and stuff like this. They have their house. Like Japan has the smallest living space out of any developed country in the world. You see how they live? They have small, tiny apartments, but they spend most of their time in the city, restaurants, shops, enjoying their country. America, we're in the West. We're just hell up, and we got these big houses. We're just, you know, and we got to get in our cars, drive over here, and everything. We got to start building new prototype cities, you know, of the future. You know, with some more pedestrian society. You know, that's my idea.
Yeah, that makes sense. You know, as far as like keeping the infrastructure together and making sure that the city's up to date. Modernized.
Yeah, smart cities are modernized, right? And smart cities basically have everything electronic. You know, they got photo ID, picture ID. They got everything, sensors all over the place and everything. Smart city technology is unbelievable. You know, the police, the fire department, all the stuff like that are on a grid and everything. So we basically got to start thinking like in that terms. You know, we need this sort of technology, and that's how you basically could build societies where you can give everybody a standard of living. I believe everybody should have a standard of living, a basic standard of living. That means the basics: running water, electricity, refrigeration, all this stuff like that. That's standard. You know, television. You know, everything like that. You know, telecommunications and everything. You know, and phones. All the basics. You know, in modern society. You know, once you have the basics, then the people could develop their culture from a position of strength and dignity.
Yeah.
The state should provide the basics. You know, I always believe that. You know, and what happens in Africa is that they gave Africa, since you asked, they gave Africa these countries, but you know, no one knew how to develop them. You know, so you got some people trying to develop like the West, and you got some people trying to stay like their ancestors did and everything, and you know, it just all over the place. You know, there's no coordinated development program. You know, now we just don't have that in the black countries. You know, if you can afford to live someplace, you know, public housing really doesn't exist. You know, public housing and or government sponsored housing don't exist, and that's what we're trying to. Oh, look who it is. Oh,
That's a
it's
homie.
impossible. However you believe anything. Navigate. You know. Liberia, as far as Liberia is concerned, you know, Liberia, Monrovia actually has pretty good infrastructure, not somewhat, you know, but the Monrovia was only built for 200,000 people. You got people from all over West Africa flooding into Monrovia, and it has over 1 million people there, so it's crowded. You know, zoning laws have disobeyed. People open vending stalls all over the place. They're trying to clean that up, but people open vending stores, vendor stores all over the road and everything, and so therefore, the government is trying to build market stalls for the people, the vendors, but they basically don't want them. They want to still sell on the side of the road, and that makes a mess and everything. Being under surveillance 25 isn't freedom. I never said anything about freedom. Whoever said anything about freedom, you know? Bomani, have I ever said anything about freedom? I believe in liberty. Now let's examine what the difference between liberty is. Boys and girls, Professor Kala is going to give you a lesson. Liberty, freedom is something you do have absent civilization, absent social cohesion, absent other people or any responsibility. That's freedom. You don't have to do nothing. You go out in the desert somewhere, you by yourself, or you're free as you want. But as soon as you live in a social structure around people and a society, you can't have freedom. You have what we call liberty. Liberty means all those basic things that you're inalienable rights to do can't be restricted, can't be taken away from you, right? It's mandated by law. You cannot take all this stuff like this. That's liberty, okay? Liberty means that you have to pay taxes. You have to obey the law. You have to obey the speed limit. You can't kill. You basically have to abide by the laws, but you are free to move about what you want to. That's liberty. You know, you could say what you want to say. You could be who you want to be. That's liberty. Freedom means that you don't have any laws. You don't have any structure. And there's no such thing as freedom in this world. You give your freedom, right, to get back liberty. It's like freedom is like let's say a check. You give your check to a bank, right, and say I want 20% of it back. You give your check to the bank. You deposit the bank. I'm gonna hold this for you, right, in the bank, right? But I'm gonna give you a certain amount to live on. That's what liberty is. These are all the rights that you have and everything, so long as you obey the law. That's the only way you're gonna live in a civilized society. You cannot just go tomorrow and start digging in the ground for oil. You gotta have permits. When I had my fence built in my backyard, I had to go to the city and get a building permit. I had my deck. I remember when I had my deck built this summer, the city came out and said, look, you know, you didn't say you were going to build the stairway banister, right? There was no stairway banister, it was just open, right? They said, no, you have to build a banister on that thing. Now, freedom of it, that's my backyard. I can do what I want. But the homeowners association, the city say, no, it has to be built this way. So I had to call the guy back out, right? I had to call that guy back out, right? And he had to build banisters on the side, and it made it work. And the city got off our back. Same thing with our fence, right? We were worried that the fence between my house and my neighbor's house, then they said, okay, you could do that. You could build that fence there. It was 6-foot fence. We wanted a privacy fence. So therefore, we got the fence built, but we had to get it cleared by the city. Now, next year, when I'm going to paint my fence, I got to find out what paint is going to be allowed on my fence. I live in a very, very nice neighborhood, right? And the homeowner association, it's very strict. I can't just paint my fence any color I want to. That's what it means by liberty. You have a right to paint your fence, but you don't have the freedom to do all like this. So that's what the difference between freedom and liberty is. Freedom means you have no restrictions whatsoever. Liberty means you have freedom, but with guidelines. We have rules. You see what I mean? That's what black people pretty much don't understand. That's why black people, when we join organizations, we tear them apart. I can say what I want. I can do what I want. No. You're part of an organization. We have rules and guidelines and bylaws. If we start getting to that point, then we're going to start making progress. Excuse me. If every black person that wants to build a Pan-African social club or whatever like that, you have to establish rules. Those are the painstaking things. Why? Because what can happen will happen. You have to know history. You have to understand this, that, and the third. This. Of course, you want more freedom. Navigate. You know what I'm saying? You're dusty. You don't want to abide by nothing. That's why you're living up there in the dust, up there in Ghana, away from everybody. Of course, you want freedom. You're like one of those hippies and whatnot. With those hippies, I want freedom when those communists when they end up coming back to civilization. Well, I guess I could live in civilization, or whatever like that. They find out that freedom ain't all what it cracked up to be. Yeah, we want surveillance. We want surveillance. We want police. We want all that. We want all that. Why? Because that preempts people from acting stupid. It deters people from doing the wrong thing. And I am not the person that trusts people. Oh, we're going to do the right thing. We don't need no rules or laws or everything. No, it don't work like that. So that dusty living and everything, take that to another program. Not over here. Anything that I have power over or influence over, it's not going to be like that. We need police, we need courts, we need magistrate, we need everything. We need all eyes and everything. We need civic leagues. We need people to be civic minded. We need fire and rescue. We need everything you need. I believe people should have a business, a skill, and everybody should know CPR and basic survival skill training. Lifeguarding, tourniquet. All these things right there should be basically if you're gonna live on a continent, you should know this stuff. We should have all those people in place. Everybody like this. We should have a directory of people that if you're gonna build it, we're gonna build a community. Okay, we're gonna need this many mechanics. We're gonna need this many painters. We're gonna need this many roofers. We're gonna need this many stuff like this. And we should also have a sovereign, and a fund, right, that we can hedge against, right, until we have the municipal capacity of raising tax money that we can pay for basic services and amenities, right? People coming over, they want to be compensated for their work. It can't be all volunteer. So all these things basically are needed as far as like building over the continent. But I strongly suggest, right, before you go over, right, have your skills, have your education, and have a network, and also connections to something group back in the United States or wherever country you're coming from. And then if you do make it on the continent, right, have it so that you host other people that want to come and may stay with you for a few months till they get on their feet, but not just anybody. You know, a person say, okay, yeah, I got this job with the government. I got this contract I'm doing over here. I just
Or example, Kala, when you decide to make it to Ghana, you can stay with Navigate freely.
No, poor.
You can have one of his shacks.
Yeah, I'm gonna live in a shack with Navigate. Oh, that'll be fun, you know. But you have to have this stuff. And the problem is black people, and I'm looking at it now, right? It's like, and I said this to Bomani the other day, right? The first time I said this thing, I think a lot of people who talk about going to the continent, right? They don't have it seems like a lot of people never had families. They never was in a church, never been in an organization like a fraternity. They never had stuff where they have to deal with human beings on a daily basis, where you're part of an organization. And let me tell you something about being part of an organization, right? When you become part of an organization, right, and you basically State Department agent given a platform, yeah, okay. If I'm a State Department agent, where's my money at? You know, where's my money at? You know, I love how I'm a State Department agent, but ain't nobody pay me. I don't work for free. You know, where's my money at? You know, is it something I don't know, Bomani? You know, you got to check for me or something? I don't know. You know, but you know, the whole thing is, I think a lot of people, right, don't know what it's like to be part of an organization. And black churches, it'll be such and and this is how black churches work, right? You may be Leroy, the maintenance man on your job, right? But when you go to that church, you're Deacon Leroy, right? You have a structure. People know you. Yeah, how you doing? You know, you're in the church and everything. You may make junior pastor or whatever like that, you know? But people know you as a sister and everything. It's a extended family. And so therefore, in that regard, people could raise money, building church funds and go on church picnics and do all kinds of college funds and everything, food pantries. I see these churches are very organized because people dedicate their life to service and everything like that, right? When you have that sort of background, why do you think the Nation of Islam was so successful, right? A lot of that people came from the church. They came from the black church. So they knew how to go inside organizations and organize people and do stuff like this. You know, they understood how to deal with people on a day-to-day basis. You know, deal with people, deal with young people, deal with older people, deal with stuff like this. It's a community. You know, and that's what you have. What you have right now, and I've seen a lot of Pan-African circles, that I've seen people have never been part of anything before in their life. So they come into the Pan-African world, and instead of saying, you know something, let me build a local chapter where I live at. You know, let me find some Pan-Africans in my community. Let's meet once every 2 weeks and have a study group. You know, let's go out to bowling. You know, let's go out to stuff like that. Let's get to know each other. You know, because then you find out about each other. Let's get to know each other. Let's our kids play together. And then when kids start playing with each other and everything like that, and you're going to different places and everything, you guys have the same belief system and everything. Then when you're ready to make a move to the continent, right, it seems more organic and natural. You don't wait till you get to the African, the continent, and basically try to organize around people you have nothing to know. You know. I think he's a hypersensitive narcissist.
Can you believe these comments? You have a real fan base.
Oh yeah, they love me. They love me. They love me. Navigate stupidly, navigate stupidly. So when you tell people, he keeps saying I should create a straw horse to beat on. I tell the truth, man. You know, it's not a straw horse, man. You know, a lot of people basically, like Navigate says, he wants to get out of America to get away from black people. That's the wrong thing to say. You know, that's the wrong say. Navigate's telling us all the wrong things to do. You know, when you basically don't be around black people and everything, good and bad. Like I said, man, today I said I don't want to be Navigate. I was working in the hood today. I was getting outside talking to people. You know,
they got you. They calling you out, brother.
he gained the Pan-African groups on Facebook to gain our trust and troll. What Pan-African group is this? You know, I was around before all these Pan-African groups, you know, believe it or not, you know. And I don't know any
I mean,
group that I joined that's taught me
it's just
anything, you know.
unbelievable.
I have my own group, you know.
I mean,
So
brother,
what group?
some people are obsessed with you, man. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, yeah,
I honestly find it sick. Like we
yeah,
have, like we know one person that's literally obsessed, you know, with a so-called figure, and it's like it's sick.
yeah.
I
And
mean,
the bottom line, I just tell it
to
like it is.
literally just wake up every day and you think about some man, you
Yeah,
should be out there building a
they
career,
got
building your
Kala.
family, building a future.
Yeah, just like Kala. Remember, like what you call it?
Allah.
Kala. That's what they say in their sleep. Like Kala. And the bottom line is that all I'm doing is I'm here for a reason. You know,
I mean,
God put me.
why post a stupid comment? I mean,
Yeah. God. If you don't like black people, don't come here. Well, he said he didn't like black people. Didn't he? Didn't Navigate say that? He said something like black people could jump off and everything like that. Didn't he? Wasn't he one said that? You know, he said that. He said, "I don't mean around black people. If something could jump, you can get shot and killed." I never felt like that around my own people. You know,
I
so a
mean,
lot
people
of
put words in your mouth. This guy
black.
named Ignite Spark. I guess he's a troll, right? But that's funny though, man. He said he joined his group. He trolled.
Yeah, I got nothing else better to do but just a troll. You know, if I'm a troll, I'm bad at it. You know. You know. You
I'm trying to
know.
remember if I've ever wasted my time and joined a group to troll.
Yeah, I got
Never.
better. If I
Got
was a
better things to
troll,
do, man.
you never hold up. You
It's
never
just
see
like,
me.
like these trolls come on here and try to like argue and debate with you for no reason, even though you're showing them all the documentation and you explain your point. I would never waste my time and do that.
Yeah, ask Mr.
I mean,
Rosenthal. 12 years
I
was
mean, I
I
must
trolling?
have like nothing better to do.
Ask Mr. Rosenthal. Was I trolling for 12 years? You know, I pointed him everywhere. And he went in Africa and whatnot and said, "Do this and whatnot." He did it, and he got success. You know.
Uh-oh, he's fighting back. He won't get on here and talk with you. There
It
you
said
go.
just happened to see his face and feed twice because his channel. You know, we don't know who his person is. Yeah. Just happened to see this face in my feed twice because of his channel. You know, so he don't know who I am. Can you show me where I'm trolling at? Where
He's in.
I'm not in any Facebook group. I'm not any Facebook group. Kala lives with white people. You live in America, you live with white people, dumbass.
So that's the
Yeah.
ignorance. I
Can
mean,
you believe that?
is
Can you
that the
believe?
best? My thing
Check
is
this
that
out.
the best you could come up with?
Check this out. Can you believe that this man's 65 years old? Look at him and look at Mr. Rosenthal. You know, Mr. Rosenthal's calling from the Congo. You see that beautiful suite he had, man? That's how every time I see Rosenthal, he's traveling the world doing multi-million-dollar deals and when he's rich, everything. And this guy fucking dusty, broke, living
When
in
Navigate, he moved from America to Ghana, and
yeah, but he lives in
he's living
dusty.
happily ever after,
Yeah, ever
like a
after.
Cinderella
That's
story,
all.
like a fairy tale.
Yeah, happily ever after with nothing and whatnot. That's why he has nothing. He has nothing. He gotta get free land. I got free land, and by the time I'm dead, I should have that building built back there. You're 65, nigga. You better get that shit done quickly, man. Enjoy that shit, man. How much time you think you got on, sir?
Eh,
You know?
I love
Yeah.
the troll. Look at this. The troll mission is to distract paid or non-paid agents.
Yeah, and that's what they do. Because the bottom line is this. So it says that's not me. Well, I didn't ask him to come on this show tonight. And basically talking and trying to insult me. I didn't say nothing to the brother.
Yo,
But
they don't understand. We know we fight back. We strike
we
back.
fight back. We got teeth, man. They don't call me Carl Thanos for no reason. That's just the way it is. They call me Carl Thanos for a reason. So a warrior, I fight back. And the bottom line is we can't stop being so freaking nice to people, because the bottom line is we're having success. We're building this and whatnot. I'm pleased about everything I'm doing that's happening in Liberia right now. Angola, we got that pretty much on lock, And the bottom line is just basically we need real nationalists and Pan-African people, It's in the past, but now I've called your. I don't know who you are. You know, I don't know who this guy is. I don't know who this
But I'm
person
telling
is.
you, it's like every time we do something, a bunch of people be like,
Everybody swears they know me. I never heard of you, dude. You know, girl, whoever you are. Never
I mean,
heard of you.
obviously, brother, you're important in their life because they've been watching you.
Yeah, they're watching me and whatnot. You know, they're freaking having dreams about me and whatnot. You know, I still live in a black community, college. You know, navigate, man. You live in a fucking hut on a friggin' out in the country somewhere and whatnot. You know, with a solar panel. You know, and so navigate, and nothing you say is adding to what we're saying. Don't you like how Rosenthal came on and he broke it down? You and I was silent for an hour and a half and let him just break it down, you know? And navigate, he gets on at his age and whatnot, and this guy sounds like a kid, you know? He sounds like a freaking child, you know? This man's 65 years old, has never accomplished anything in his life, you know? And just sad that this is what we're dealing with as far as like black men. This is what we're dealing with sissy ass black men who don't build nothing, don't got nothing, you know. But yet when they see people building something, instead of saying, you know something, I'm gonna sit my ass down because Kala knows what he's talking about, Brian knows what he's talking about, Roosevelt knows what he's talking about. So let me just sit my ass down, you know. But they're gonna sit here and fight with us all day. You know, he said Roosevelt's a Jewish name, whatnot. Okay. You know, all this kind of nonsense. Rosenthal's a middleman for Europeans. Rosenthal don't work with Europeans, you know. All his partners are Africans and Asians. That's all he does deal with. So what is he talking about? You know, the white Europeans have nothing to do with this, what we're doing. You know, so
I
this
mean,
guy.
whenever these people talk about white folks, they make it seem like these superior white people.
These superior white Thanos is, oh man, white people and everything like that, you know. And so at the same time, he asked him, why can't Ghana process his cuckoo? You know, oh man, the white people ain't gonna let you do that. You know, we built the Gold Bullion Bank, and
I get tired of hearing about this white people won't let this, white people won't let that do that. What are you telling? It's like, what are you telling your generations of people that you can't do anything?
That's why we can't listen to people like Navigate. We'll be back in chains with that nigga.
I can't live like that, and I can't push those things. I mean, I feel like we could be a people, you know, and that's what we work towards. Even if it's only 5 people that's down with us, we're gonna keep on doing, because you know what you're gonna do. Just keep on just, you know, educating yourself, learning what you're learning, and working in you know, in other people's system and having to deal with it versus billing. I mean, you can still do that, but it's like we have a golden opportunity. Is my point, a golden opportunity right now to get connected to Africa. And
now check this out. Now I broke it down so beautifully, maybe because people come in late. I broke it down so beautifully about what you need to do. I talked about EPCOM. I talked about vertical integration, types of businesses, and everything, so you can be ready for the continent, right? Instead of having intelligent feedback, right? Kala, you know you're right, and everything like that. We don't get that. You know, look at the comments we get in the chat room. He's an agent of the State Department, you know. He's this, Kala's this, Kala's that. Nothing intelligent, nothing building, nothing adding, and everything. Just a bunch of mumbo jumbo nonsense and talk, you know. So the bottom line is this: Navigate did say on record that he does not like being around black people and black Americans because black people in America don't know how to act and whatnot, you know. So 45 million black people in America are out shooting and killing each other, according to Navigate freely. You know, that's why he's hiding over here in Ghana. You know, can't run, Negro, but you can't hide. You know, just the stuff you do. Thank you, Kala. We appreciate you. Thank you. You know, I try. I work all day in my business and everything. Successful businessman. And Bomani gave me the call. He said we need to do a show tonight. And Bomani calls, I come. You know, and the topic of tonight is type of businesses. Well, then instead of people calling in and say, I have an idea about business and everything, and I can give you some advice and everything like that, just from my observation, right? Just what I know, what works.
Hey, remember, you can't talk about nothing right now. Only conversation that's going on in the world right now is Kanye West.
Oh, Kanye West. Why everybody's talking about Kanye West and all stuff like this? We're coming here to talk about nation building and what you can do, and people who are serious about building. And you cannot build nation building by yourself. You cannot be, you have to be organized. Did I say that? You have to have a brain trust. You have to be organized on every different level. If your level is a layman, right? Organize among the laymen. If you say that you know something, I'm good at let me see, I'm a good at laying electrical lines, stuff like that. Be the best person. Organize around that. Create an association. Then you have something to bargain with. If you're good at plumbing, be the best you could be. Rise to the top. Master stuff. Where is the best place to order parts and stuff like that? Could you be a part supplier? You know, could you be somebody that procure parts in large numbers and everything? You know, do you know any sort of operations coming up and everything that you can participate in America, right? That you could showcase and say, hey, man, when I go to South Africa, right? You know, I could bid on this contract right here because in Africa, to be honest with you, you're only dealing with other black people. It ain't like the same thing in America. If you come to, they say, if you're a black man in America that got your shit together, you can go to Africa and get those multi-million-dollar. You can compete with Indians. You can compete with all these people, you know. But the whole thing is you got to be organized. You have to know what you're doing. And so I'd say all the time, I said that made the point I made tonight. I'm gonna repeat it. Business to government relationship. I said start by learning how to win government contracts in America with the U.S. government. You know, your city has a procurement department. They purchase from from the private sector. If you have a prison, the prison purchases from the private sector. If some company has a monopoly, like a lot of states do, on prison stuff that's supplying the food to prison, see, you do your investigation and see if you're a food supplier. Can you be a supplier? Once you start mastering these things, how to be suppliers and be part of the supply chain and everything like that, now you're ready to move overseas. Now you got your feet wet and you got your experience and everything. So, and also you have money and means to take risks like that. But you cannot go on the continent empty-handed and empty-headed. So therefore, I said business to government relationship, which I just explained again, and also business to business relationship. Are there businesses on the continent, right? I said earlier, right? We need alpha businesses. If we don't have alpha businesses of our own, right? Maybe we can connect with African alpha businesses, right? Maybe we can connect with the Dangote group, you know, say what can we do to supply and everything, study what they need, whatever like that, you know. And this is where we can go. Hey, we do trucking here, you know. Dangote moves a lot of stuff like that. The McKinsey group, the guy I played that we got banned on here. Somebody reported it. Remember him? Ted McKinsey. Dayton, Ohio, that has an oil transport group. He started in 1978. Wow. And he now operates in all continents. Black man from Akron, Ohio. That's the type of people we need. And let's say the McKinsey group comes to Southern Africa or whatever like that and start doing the oil transport, right? Let's say he's doing this right here. He can't handle that load himself. But if you had your own fuel truck, say, look, I would like to outsource. I see that here with Miller Mark, everything, where they basically only thing they do is supply. When Shell or them can't make a deadline, whatever like that, the local company called Miller Mark will go and supply gas stations with the gas, right, as a favor, and they'll take the gas, and Miller Mark will just pay them for the service of transporting it, plus a profit, whatever, So therefore, there's all kinds of allied businesses and stuff like that, but you have to be in the mix. Where do you fit in there? Are you in the oil sector? Are you in the agricultural sector? Are you in transportation? Are you in communications? Kyle's good at running his mouth like most people stupid. No, you are stupid, navigate. It's a shame I'm dropping so many jewels, and navigation is basically here to filibuster and act stupid. Act stupid. Dangote is a front man, say, oh, now I know who these people are. Dangote is a front man. All these, one of these white man's Thanos, and everybody's basically a front man. This is somebody that basically lives in his basement with his mother. He's never signed a contract. He never did anything in his life and everything. So
it's everyone of those 40, 50-year-old virgins.
A 50-year-old virgin when I don't have no wife,
career, no
woman,
life,
no career, no responsibility. Of course, he's bitter.
and
So he comes on
people,
social.
family. There are people like that out there. They
Yeah,
didn't just make movies like that for no reason. There's people like that out there,
and
and
they
they
have to
just
go
be
hack
on
at
the
somebody.
internet and just playing with their keyboards, making up fake characters. And some of them, they have like a whole bunch of different channels and login. Like one I kept on blocking, and they come up with another one.
Come with another one. Who
I
has time
blocked
for
them
that?
again. I'm
Once
like,
I'm blocked, I'm done. I only
who
got
does
one
that? I
YouTube.
mean, if you don't agree with what we're talking about, why are you wasting your time trying to fight with us? If you want to listen, I'm fine. I can't stop nobody from listening. These are public recordings. But we're trying to connect with people. The very small percentage of people understand, and it's right there, the big banner, Pan-Africanism towards nationhood.
If
So
you don't believe in Pan-African towards nature, you should not be here.
if you're one of those crazy, stupid people who talk about Pan-Africanism is dead, or I killed Pan-Africanism, or this person, I mean, you're a fool. I mean, that means you're killing the future of, the future of what
And,
we
and,
can
and
do.
you're a fool too, because it's not killing anything, because it's not going anywhere.
Yeah,
Because the whole thing is the only way we're going to survive is this. Everybody else in the world, right, have settled on race. The Indians are racist as hell. Why? Because they only stick with Indians and they're like this. Chinese are racist as hell. Only group of people on the planet that basically is still undecided about how the world works is the black race. That's why when you look at the situation, right, there's almost no real major exports to the United States coming from Africa. Nothing. There's no steel. There's no cars. There's no electronics. There's nothing. That's not even toys. So what do we have to basically lose? Nothing. We have nothing to lose. Yeah. Angola and Liberia. These countries have malaria, but you didn't take malaria pills. When I was over in Liberia, I took malaria pills. As a matter of fact, I went during the dry season, so I didn't get bit one time with mosquitoes. I got ate up by mosquitoes in America, but I guess I wasn't there during the rainy season, so I don't know about that. But yeah, malaria is a problem in West Africa, but Angola doesn't have this problem. It's more temperate, cooler climate, than Liberia. Like what you call it. And also, let me tell you something, bro. People think that Africa is hot. In Liberia, right? Unlike America, I had to wear my jacket at night, because it was so cold.
Yeah,
I
Africa
had
is
to
not
wear,
as, yeah, certain countries are not as hot as people think they are.
yeah. You think Liberia? Maybe because I was there during the wintertime, where I was there in the dry season, but even the hot season, whatever like that, when it's hot, I was there when I was in Liberia. I had to wear my jacket and long pants at night because it was chilly. It was on the beach when that's freezing, man. You sit on the beach when you get the waves and everything. That's cold. You go inside, man. You know what I'm saying? It's cold. There's some nights it's real hot. You gotta have a fan on and everything. But as soon as you go outside and everything like that, and you go and you're near the ocean and everything like that, man, that wave, the wind, it really gets a little chilly out there. And when I was in Liberia at nighttime, I was looking at my thing. It was like around 60 to 75 degrees at night, and that's a little chilly. That's bring my sweater. My girl had to bring her sweater. She put on my jacket. Because it got a little chilly out there. So it's not as hot and muggy as people think it is. But Angola is really cool. That's a really cool climate. That's Southern Africa, really. It's a really cool climate. Beautiful country. Beautiful sunny weather and stuff like that. Not as rainy as West Africa and Liberia. Yeah, Liberia do in the summertime and the rainy season they do have mosquitoes. So you basically like that. I'm a VP of a currently growing Pan African.
It's not a joke.
He can't even be a president. He's a VP. Yeah.
I mean, what does VP mean anyway?
Yeah, VP of the Plotters Association. Plotters.
I know it doesn't mean vice president. So what does it mean?
It's vice president, very important
No,
person, VIP. Maybe VIP.
just like FBA. FBA don't mean FBA, right? You gave that. Give it your definition. I mean, give the
Foundational Buckbroken assholes.
Now give one for VP for navigate.
Very. Let me see. VP is very poor. I'm very poor of a current. Okay, he's very poor. I'm very poor.
We can work on that one.
We're working on very poor, very poor. I'm very poor. You know. Yeah.
I got one more question. Well, I got a question.
Oh, cool. Go ahead. Before we close out, that's perfect. Perfect time. Go ahead, Big Black.
Hey, going back to the IMF. I guess is as far as Africa is it safe to say that the vast majority are under the IMF? As far as like what percentage would you say?
Liberia is not. Liberia is not. Liberia is not because
Yeah.
it wasn't rooted in colonialism.
Okay.
Almost all the countries in Africa, except for Angola, let's say Southern African countries, Nigeria is, Ghana is. Ghana went to IMF 18 times. Kenya is, Uganda is. These countries are paying their debts back, you know. But the thing is that debt burden, if you have a country, right, and you're making billions of dollars, right, you're supposed to be building roads, hospital, and like a good 30% of your annual budget got to go to servicing that debt, which keeps pounding on interest. You almost never get out of it, you know.
Right.
And they know. And what the problem in the IMF was, if the countries took the money, like let's say Singapore and these countries did, right, and they did the right thing, they beat the IMF at their own game. But African countries took that money, they blew it. Expensive hotels, private jets, and all stuff like that for the
Wait a minute. How did the Singapore beat them at their own game?
bro. You know, Singapore is a long story, bro. We have to do a whole show about that.
Okay.
Lee Kuan Yew is probably the best statesman in our lifetime.
Hey, look at this, man. This kind of thing we're dealing with, and we're talking about, you know,
Singapore.
Singapore, great nations development, and things that we could be doing and learning, you know, from. And this is what this guy have for us. This is someone that's supposed to be an elder.
He's not an elder. He's an older. There's a difference between an elder and an older.
Thank you for your correction.
An elder is somebody basically like Rosenthal. Rosenthal's an elder. You know, yeah, older.
We got, but yeah, go ahead, brother. Break it down. Break it down. Back to Singapore.
Singapore. This is what Singapore did, right? First of all, when Singapore took advantage of the fact that the British was in shambles, right? It was a window of opportunity, right? And so Singapore was a colony of the Great British. It was where the British built their Royal Navy. So the British left the ports. They had some. It was a trading port, right? Singapore was blessed by the fact that it straddles two oceans: the Pacific on the east and the Indian Ocean on the west. It straddles the northern hemisphere of Southeast Asia, Malaysia to the south, and it's Hong Kong and Vietnam and all these countries to the north, right? So Singapore was a strategic place to do business in Asia. It set up offices and everything. They knew that. They knew that if you want to do business in Asia, right, you need a place where you could basically run your business, right, and have access to plug throughout the whole entire region of Asia, the operations. A lot of companies in Asia have their operations in Singapore. That's a place where business transactions are done and everything like that. Okay, so therefore, Singapore said we're going to make our money not even on manufacturing. This is going to be a place where if you want to buy a whole boatload of bananas from Malaysia, Philippines, we will package them for you, your product for you, right? Like I said earlier. You don't take ownership of the product, right? You just take the product, do a service, put it in packages. Singapore mastered that, right? Package it up, put it on ships, right, and send it to the destination. And that's how they made their money, through business transaction. So Singapore said to increase this, right, and be a service to Asia and compete with places like Hong Kong and everything like that, we're going to need an educated population. And before we need an educated population, we're going to have to build a infrastructure. We're going to have to move people from living in slums and living in boats and everything like that to modern life. Now, the difference between the challenge they had was if you have people coming in, refugees coming from Vietnam and all these other places, mainland China, living in Singapore, living in barges and everything like that, they don't know nothing about living in an apartment building. You have to train them. He said you have to train them. They don't know nothing about not pissing on the streets. They don't know nothing about defecating in public and everything like that. You have to train them. So he created a strict code of laws, right? Of civic, like you can't spit on the street. That's 2 years in jail. This, you can't do this, everything like that. It's completely orderly, right? Why? Because what disciplines people to do the right thing. He said people will want to do the right thing, but you have to train them. You have to train them to do the right thing. You got to train them not to throw garbage on the street. You got to train them why that we basically clean the country up. You got to train why we have the death penalty for drugs, you know? Singapore, a lot of people remember the Opium War, how millions of people were addicted to heroin. So they created the harshest penalty for transporting drugs, mainly at foreigners, you know, trying to import, using Singapore's location to ship drugs from places like Vietnam and Cambodia into the world. So you get caught with drugs, whether you did it or not, that's an automatic death penalty. That's in the law. This is the Constitution. So therefore, when you have a country where basically the only way you can go is basically do the right thing. Singapore, Lee Kuan Yew said he always has an old saying. He goes, you get one bowl of fruit in life, right? You break it, that's it, it's on. But he said the government's responsibility is to make sure everybody get that one bowl of fruit, right? If they do right by it and everything, they'll be fine. But if you break it, that's on you. You get one chance in life, you know? And so therefore, education, right? Singapore basically invited all these countries. I'm gonna get to the point about the IMF. Singapore said, look, since we're the business center, right? We're growing business center. We need education. So therefore, since we don't make computers and everything, they invited IBM, Hewlett Packard in there, and a lot of Japanese firms to basically build this sort of telecommunications and IT infrastructure. That's another business I didn't talk about tonight. IT, right? When I mean information technology, that simply means, right, mastering computer skills, right, to the highest level, like Bomani, right, and taking desktops and everything, and cubicles, right, and basically being a information center for businesses, you know, brokering businesses, also labor staffing businesses, where basically people come to your company, right, as a consultant, and you have a whole database of network of people in your system where you could put business deals together and everything, and you get paid for it or whatever. Somebody said, I need a trucking company, I need this and everything like that, right? Well, your IT company has people working in cubicles, right? Having incoming calls and stuff like this. Computer farms, I call them IT farms, right? Where you have this people on computers all day and all night processing information and sending tickets in and stuff like that, you know, and basically making sure business run smoothly, you know, and administrating businesses, you know, handling people's accounts and stuff like that, you know. All those type of business will definitely work. Okay. And about Singapore. So Singapore was that type of company. A company in the West could basically outsource their or open up an operation in Singapore. Said we need you to manage our company operation in Asia to the fullest extent. The accounting, the payroll, everything, the shipping, everything is managed by these companies in Singapore that basically handle people's business, you know, and save the company money to the point where a lot of companies in America would outsource their business to Singapore because they did it such well and such cheaper. You see what I mean? Same thing going on in Dubai right now. Dubai is setting itself up to be an ITC center where business is being done, right? Because it's cheaper to pay somebody a workforce in Dubai than it is in the United States. You know, same thing India. India is the same way. Why do you think Bill Gates moved a lot of Microsoft to India? All these countries are benefiting from ITC and technology, you know, except for Africa. You see what I mean? And so therefore, what I'm saying is Singapore never really needed the IMF or the World Bank because it was a small country. And also it was making money doing that, right? And to the point where Singapore now has a per capita income of $70,000 a year. Singapore business people are doing things now in IT. The stuff Mike and I talk about doing is a Sky City software. We're going to be designing prototype Afrikstan cities and everything like that. They got kids that do that for their hobby. They got so many people that are into the IT, the technology, and everything like that. That Singapore is now the major place of business throughout Asia. Now, which we call now Vietnam is following this lead. You know, even the Philippines getting in on technology. This is a Pacific century. Most of the technology and everything like that, right? The business transactions, right? You got Japan and China, right? Do $400 billion a year worth of business transactions. Two countries that hate each other. Same thing with Korea and South Korea and Japan. All business. You know, most of that business is IT, technology, business, money transactions, and everything like that. You know, and stuff like this. So this is why, and Africa was led to believe that all it needed was natural resources and everything they could develop, and that hasn't been the case. You have to build your human potential, your human capital up. Africa, you cannot basically have people leaving the continent by the tens of thousands every year. Once they get an education, they go overseas. They're not concentrated in one area, building that brain huddle. You know. So it's like
So are you saying that because of Singapore being a major hub in logistics and IT, that it was able to pay off its debt to
yeah.
the IMF?
Also, let me tell you like this. This is an important point I forgot to mention. Singapore basically said, assuming nationhood. I mean, when the British left, right, they was like, we don't know the day-to-day. So Lee Kuan Yew said, we got to form a government, right? And just like us, we want to form our own autonomous government, right? But it's scary. If somebody gonna come with a missile and blow us up, that's a scary thing, right? So they start assuming government. That means they start policing the area, right? They start sending people down there to check on the docks, right? Collect tariffs and stuff like that. Assuming the assumption of nationhood, right? And then it becomes a manifestation of nationhood. That's what Lee Kuan Yew said in his book. You know, you assume nationhood, right? You assume it, right? And what appears becomes apparent, and it manifests itself. Well, if you go to Singapore, this government right here, then next you know, I guess we are the government. We all the stuff that we did, we corrected and everything like that, right? And so you make it official. We now declare ourselves an independent republic. The CIA tried to undermine Lee Kuan Yew. The West tried to do that, but he says, "Go, we don't need you." He made sure this country was never dependent on the West.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So you're saying too, Angola is a country that is not controlled by the IMF, right?
No, not particularly. Why? Because Angola has oil, and my friend Mr. Vemba, he's Angolan. He told me the story how, and it's a good thing, right? Angola had discovered they had oil, right? This was back in like in the late 90s, right? And they went to the Bush administration, right? And they wanted $10 million, right? It's $10 million to the oil exploration and everything. And the Bush administration refused them, right? And so they were like, okay, no, whatever it was, they said, no, we can't do it. We can't invest in your country. So they went to Korea and China gave them the money to explore oil. They discovered oil. And they discovered so much oil, right, that China gave Angola a line of credit, billions of dollars, right? And China said, Angola said, we want to develop fast, right? We want to develop Luanda, right? So they built whole new cities. They built hydro dams. They built everything. Angola is like the most modern city in Africa. Yeah, I mean, excuse me, Luanda, Angola is like the most modern developed city in Africa. It's expensive though, and the reason why it's so expensive is because Angola didn't really. It was just like it wasn't transparent, and a lot of people, to be honest with you, were taking kickbacks and stuff like that. The Portuguese, everybody was in there building stuff like the buildings were going up every day. New high-rise buildings were going every day, and a lot of the cost was ships. There was like hundreds of ships sitting outside of Angola's harbor waiting to undock, and those ships sitting outside the ports, and for months at a time, cost money to unload. And so therefore what happened was this, since they had no place to unload, and I told the Angolans, right? I said, look, I took November, I said, what if you guys were connected with, let's say, Nigeria, Ghana, Liberia, and all these people, and you was able to unload some of that stuff in these other ports and everything for the time being, instead of paying for the Chinese to sit out there for months at a time marking up the price, because that's why all the price of steel and everything was hyperinflated. It was cost because of the cost overruns. Like I said earlier, in operations and logistics earlier in the show, I said the timing is everything. If you can't unload when you unload, you got to incur cost. And Gold is still paying for that cost. Even though they're doing well, but their real estate, it has to be sold because the high cost it took to make it, because they didn't have the real infrastructure in place to facilitate the orderly procession, logistically procession of stuff coming in, getting to the point A to point B, and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what happened.
Oh, okay. Makes sense.
So Phil Miles said Singapore was a crown colony, but it's not a crown colony now. Singapore, what's the crown colony when you don't have the British didn't have no means to basically enforce it? Singapore was a crown colony, but guess what happened? The Prince of Wales ship was what happened to the Prince of Wales ship? The Japanese, what did they do to that? They sunk it. They sunk it in Singapore Harbor. That broke something over the Asians' mind. Seeing that the symbol of the Prince of Wales ship sitting out there, the might of the British Empire. These people thought they were going to rule for 1,000 years. And Japanese brought that crashing down. So, I know some of you Negropeans in there are disappointed, but the British are gone. The British, basically, the Singapore's GDP is almost 30% higher than the average British. Singapore GDP and per capita income is actually on par and higher than Great Britain, its former colonial master. Did that happen in any other African country? No, because Africans are still crying over the Queen of England's death. They didn't choose Pan-Africanism as a way. Singapore has its hands and connections throughout Asia. Every Asian country, major businessmen, have some sort of operations in Singapore. And so it's not like you selling cocoa beans and stuff like that. When you're selling logistics and shipping and packaging and business transaction and finance and everything, and finance is your main income in business, you're gonna make way more money than you do exporting cocoa beans. So I don't know what the Navigate Freelys talk about these days, but I know what I know. I know a few things in life. I'm not saying I know everything, but I know a whole lot. So
Thanks for the info, Kala.
yeah, so that's it. We could do this, man, but like I said, we have to basically, those of us in America, we don't have a republic or nation state, but we do control cities in America. We do have a lot of local cities and everything like that. And local cities are becoming more international. That's wherever there's a will, there's a way. And these local cities got pension funds and stuff like that, and they got sovereign wealth funds even now and everything. And we're sitting on these boards and everything. We're letting the white people control all this stuff and everything, like we're dumb and stuff. They let us become city manager and city mayor and everything, and they're basically loaning all the pension funds out and everything to build their pet projects all over the world and stuff like that. And we're not steering that money to the mother continent. That's our fault. Another business idea is, like I said, sister city projects. Educational exchange, skills change. Across the Atlantic. There's many things you could do to help the Pan-African movement. Kala knows a lot of non-relevant info. Yeah. Only unrelevant to the people who are ignorant and stupid. You there, Bomani? Hello. Bomani, you there? He must have stepped out. But any more questions, Big Black Brother?
Not that I can think of.
Yes, Kala, you guys are you're done for the night. You're closed.
Yeah. I think we said enough for tonight, man. Because I wanted some more people in the chat room to say something. John Kofi's being productive, you know.
But I posted a link for somebody to have a real discussion with us and things like that. As far as what we're talking about, but it's
this guy
unfortunately, most of what we have is trolls.
This must be a female. This can't be a dude. Ignite Spark says, apologies, buddy, but you have to re-earn every nanogram of respect I have for you. Who is this person? Is this person going on a trip with you, Bomani?
What the hell? What's the person name?
Ignite Spark.
No, that's your buddy that keep on saying that you've been trolling them.
Yeah, but I don't know who this is. This are you a male or female?
Maybe it's a it.
No, maybe it's a he, she. Maybe she's genderly confused. That cannot be a freaking man. That cannot be a man. Yeah, that cannot be a man. You know, that cannot be a man. You know, no man get emotional like that. If I don't know you, you know, a Liberian man. Oh Lord, you know, a Liberian. Oh Lord, a Liberian. You know, Ignite Spark. Is that Elvis? No. Oh, you know who I think this is? Is that Barton Kula? Are you Dr. Kula? Are you Barton Kula? You know, that could be Barton Kula.
But this is the person's Wallace comment right here. The Singapore comment.
What do you say? I've been to Singapore. How can you compare island? I don't know, man. These countries, everybody keeps saying, how can you compare? I think it make it worse. You got a whole damn continent. Singapore has not one natural resource. You know, not one natural resource. No gold, no nothing.
This person must think they're really important. Like it's like I'm gonna be heartbroken.
I'm trying to think of what Liberian I know. I know a lot of Liberians love me, but a lot of them hate me. You know, calling out COINTELPRO, COINNEGRO Pro. You know, yeah, COINNEGRO Pro. Black people got COINTELPRO for everything. Anytime they basically fail or something, oh, COINTELPRO. You know, no, Negro, you were just stupid. You know, that's all it is. You're stupid and incompetent. That's why you failed. You know, white man don't have to do nothing no more. You know.
Yeah, what did we do to Ignite Spark? I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know. You know,
yeah, so I was supposed to comment. Like I'm telling people, like literally, we're working on what we're working on, and we just have people come out of nowhere. Some people feel entitled. Some people are obsessed with you because you was on somebody else's show that they didn't like, and so they see you on here now. They want to bring the drama, and it's unbelievable. But you know, people, we're the voice of building that Pan-African connection. So
hey, Knight, why don't you come on the show? We got a couple of minutes left. Come on the show and tell us what's on your mind. Speak what's on your mind. Be a man.
Well, you ain't got no. Well, Ignite don't have any balls, so
ain't no balls. That's what it is, man. People ain't no balls. Come on, Ignite. Get on the show, bro.
Ignite Sparks. Set the spark. Don't Ignite Spark. Mess around and get himself set on fire. Don't ignite yourself on fire.
Let me guess. He's a crime boy or a crew boy. You know, he's a kebab.
You put him in time out like you did chill, like you one of your sons. It wasn't me.
Are you a crime boy, Ignite? You're a Samuel Doughboy, you know?
You put me in timeout. What is up with these people?
Yeah, man.
I know sometimes people are watching and they're like, what's going on? I'm like, I have no idea. People start trolling, but it's fun, man, as far as the trolls. Because basically, you know that people like will sit here and watch what we're talking about. Literally.
I'm trying to think of who this
I'm like wondering, what's your end game? You just like, you must be trying to learn something, or you must feel jealous, or I don't know. You must find us entertaining.
I'm just trying to think of what Liberian I know. I got a lot of them that are idiots, you know. Let's see. Could this be John Williams? He got a native name, but he uses John Williams. It could be Barton Kula. No, Dr. Kula will say who he is.
Oh, did he try to appeal to this person's ego? I mean, I didn't.
I didn't. You know,
I'm just saying, I don't know really what's going on. Unless I see
I
this
say,
person
I
pop
say
up.
when I say crime boy, I'm just talking about how you dumb Negroes act. You know,
The family, we're going through the chat, and the chat is always hilarious. Like
Yeah.
literally, and you know, Kyle, I think we at 3 o'clock. I literally at least in the next 5 minutes got to close down. Cause I know you got to roll.
I gotta go too, but I would love to have somebody like Ignite, man. We had a good discussion tonight. I mean, we had a good discussion. I want you people to like,
Kyle,
share,
most
and
people don't have the
subscribe.
balls to sit there and have a go with you, man. They get
Yeah, they
frustrated. I think the issue is you frustrate them.
because they have no education. They don't know jack about anything, you know. And so when you come up here against me, man, you know you gotta be prepared. You know, you can't be stupid. You know, that's our enemy divides and conquers Africans. Yo, you should know, like you destroyed Liberia with tribalism. You should know all about that. You know, I don't give a damn about tribe. All I care about is you're black and you want to join with us. That's fine. But you guys want to bring tribalism into this nonsense and everything, go right ahead. You know, I don't care about no tribe, whatever, all that tribal stuff. I'm just trying to think of who this is. FBA rally, November 5th. No, we ain't going, so put you in timeout. Shut up. You know, no more FBA, no more friggin' reparations. We're focused on nation building. If you talk about reparations and all that stuff, all you're doing is distracting us, you know, and that's what we are about. The rule number one is we're about nation building, Pan African, and building business. I talked tonight at length about what we need to do, right? So when people start talking about after you listen to what I said, and you still talk about Tariq and the reparation rally, please go someplace. You know, go someplace. You know, go someplace. And Navigate, you could have came on and talked. You know, didn't we put the link out? Navigate could have came up here and said something. He's a colleague. He did all the talking. You know. I'm not saying everybody's stupid, but when I see stupid comments, man, I gotta. What am I supposed to do? You say something stupid, Navigate. One supposed to say you're brilliant. You know, like our sister B, who I agree with Navigate. What the fuck? I agree with Navigate. You know, I wonder what these sisters were saying about
Yeah,
Roosevelt.
he's brilliant. He is brilliant. I mean, he's brilliant. That's why he
Yeah.
won't come back on, because he literally realized that he's been outmatched, out defeated, out educated.
You know what? You know what Navigate is? He doesn't have any real. I see how I could break down Singapore. I could give you a history lesson. He just gives you platitudes and generalizations. I could talk about this
And give you wrong dates. Wrong dates.
He give you wrong dates and whatnot. The Korean War was fought in the 1940s and whatnot. I'm like, what the hell? Oh no, wait a minute. Oh, my father fought in Korea and whatnot. How do you mess that up, man? Everybody knows the Korean War came right after World War II. So how you talk about the Korean War happened in the 1930s? You know? I believe we could build Angola and Liberia at the same time, you know? I believe that's the case. I believe we could build Angola. And also when we talk about building building in Liberia and everything, and Angola and everything, we have to have skills. Also in Liberia, we basically have a lot of Liberians on the ground that could connect with us. So Liberia is just like basically an extension of Black America anyway, you know. Angola is a place where we really got to build. Liberia, we just have to develop the whole country, you know. That's an easy. That's Angola and those countries as bases in Africa and in Ghana too. You know, so whatever country basically gives us places where we could build land infrastructure, nationhood, or land infrastructure and community, land infrastructure and municipality. You know, we're good. If we can have our municipalities, and basically when we look up on the map, our municipalities are dotted on the map, where people know where they come to our municipality, they get checked out, and they want to set up a business, they got to come to us. That's something that we control. And we're the majority, you know, you know, Liberia has been sold to multinational corporations, but he can't name the multi-capital. He got Sim Darby one, which they're pulling out, you know, of Liberia. So whatever, basically,
Yeah, people just they hear like one set of information and like run with it
Yeah,
like
and they
real
run with it, right?
crazy.
People have no idea. What's
So,
up, Oops?
but telling people, yeah, what I'm telling people is like family, get out there and get involved. Learn a trade. You know what I'm saying? If you're still young, join the military. Score high on one of these exams and become, and get you an opportunity or something. But literally, if you up this late and you have nothing progressive to share with us and you're literally trolling us, that means you have a lot of your time on your hand where you could be reading a technical book or something. You know?
And also, like I said, I would like to. Did you ever see that guy go to that guy with the talk about how do government? You think that's real, or have you checked him out? You know, I was interested.
Yeah, what I find with anything, just like even the business, is like I can sell you a business, how to do Africa tours and investment and make make some money and and things like that. And I can just even evaluate that I'm making more than I'm making and all kind of stuff and and also you can do it to where everything is true, but the reality of what I think everyone explains to you is that um you have to just be willing to put that undying passion into it because people may say this only takes a few hours or not.
Yeah, let
Whatever
me ask you a
business you're
question.
in. No, but let me finish this quick.
What Europeans have grip on Angola resources? What resources and what Europeans navigate?
Yeah, I don't know what the hell he's talking about. And see, it's not even even. I just sometimes have to just ignore him because he's just so funny. But I lost my train of thought what I was literally
Yeah, you were saying
saying.
about the guys selling your how to do something. I still think
Yes, I mean you just have to. I mean, you just have to just put the work in and learn whatever system it is. Just like any other trade or job. And I think that's the biggest issue
anything and everything is needed, bro. And everything what we're trying to do, anything and
and
everything.
then naturally if you have an organized approach to where you just have a union of people and you work on towards certain things, you're good. So these are the things that I'm trying to like even get into where you're in a group of people who are working on different business together, or even the goal of when you have your enterprise there set up in Africa and then you have to deal business with people here, and you kind of like doing things, just putting things in place to create that bridge.
Have
So
a whole network. Have a whole network of suppliers, investors, technicians, and everything. Wherever business you're doing over there, you should have a worldwide. You should not rely on no one. You know.
yeah, those are the ideas and the goals. But when it comes down to it, you don't you've seen it for the most part. People are not really serious, so you end up struggling because you have an operation where you may have supposed to have 10 people supposed to be running it. Then you end up having 2 people. I mean, and it's just foolishness, excuses, and things like that. But nevertheless, that's why I just keep on moving forward. And I had to just leave a bunch of people behind in the last 18 years in life, and or even longer. But those of us that's on this divine mission just got to keep looking and connecting with people that's about business and keep it moving and keep building. But yeah, the goal, brother, man, is for us to have a generation of people who are open to the new world of just technology, business administration, international operation in Africa. Learn how to, you know,
Yeah.
be
And let me tell you something about the people
right.
talking about in the chat. We're talking about the CIA. Let me break something down to you, folks. I meant to say this.
CIA.
People
Who's
don't understand
CIA?
what it means, Central Intelligence Agency. Now, the fact of the matter is, most of us black folks don't understand what what intelligence means, right? People think that when they say stupid stuff about Angola is controlled by Europeans, right? That's misinformation, not even information, right? What do you know what intelligence means? That means information that's so friggin' accurate to 99.999% that it's real. We have intelligence that bombing is about to happen. That means it's going to happen. That's intelligence. So the CIA basically gathers information, profiles people all over the world, right, to create intelligence. They basically do that with every country. They know who the leaders are. They know the political movements. They know they could have a coup in any country. They could have insurrections at any time. They know who the enemies of the country are. They know who the student movements are. They know everything. They have everything profiled in a country, right? And then when they go to act on that, right, they put all the information together in a package called intelligence. This person, they connect all the dots. Dots all connected. Here, 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 here. And boom. You take this person out, put them in here, put them here, right here. This is going to move to this. We have intelligence. You know, black race do not have intelligence. That's why we're always behind the ball. That's why we're still to this day talking about COINTELPRO. We don't have black global intelligence organizations, you know, and stuff like that, you know. And so basically, we don't understand what intelligence means. Now, the CIA is not invincible, right? Castro showed that 27 times. That take about Lee Kuan Yew. They tried to discredit him. They failed. When the people are nationalistic and they don't have tribalism, they don't have classism, they don't have cultural Marxism, stuff like that, you cannot penetrate the society. You can't pit groups against each other, destabilize, and then move in, divide and conquer. The CIA is only good when you're dealing with weak countries. Weak countries. That's exactly the truth. CIA can't take out Russia. No. They get information and everything, but they can't do it. They can't take out countries like Iran. They can't do it. They can only do it in countries where weak, where the people like navigate around and whatnot, you know, who believe everything, who believe Kala's the devil, you know. If I'm sitting here taking my time, I want to see my people do the best and everything like that, and you got people who are trying to undermine me and everything like that, that's how the friggin' CIA operates. Do people like navigate?
Oh, wow.
Because they're weak.
Wow.
And this guy at night, and whatever his name is, you know, they're weak. And that's how CIA operates, you know. And he gets up there, and Rosenthal has never done. I've never seen Rosenthal raise his voice to anybody. Good man, does a lot of charity work, does a lot of stuff all over the world. But he spent the last couple of days in the chat trying to tarnish Rosenthal's name on our show we did. In fact, that we don't ban him and whatnot is amazing because we're still merciful because we know Navigate's an old fool, you know. But these are the type of people the CIA uses. They convince them, oh man, if you Navigate, if we get rid of Kala, man, you'll be number one and everything like that. Come on, Navigate, don't you want that top spot and everything? And fools like him will fall for it, you know. Weak people like him will fall. You know what Navigate reminds me of? Fredo. Remember Fredo in The Godfather 2?
Oh yeah, the weak brother.
The weak brother in Godfather 2. Navigate's Fredo. We'll call him Navigate Fredo, you know. You know.
No. Like, I mean, he's a VP.
He's a VP. Very petrified. That's it. Very petrified. You know, there he is. Very petrified. You know.
Yeah, I have some other words I can't say on, you know, because it's not appropriate.
Yeah.
You know?
So the bottom line is this. That's what they do. Remember in the Godfather 2, they said, "Oh, they told me, Mike, it was for the good of the family and everything like that." You know, it was good of the family. And he goes, "Michael, you believe that?" Remember that?
Absolutely.
That's when you have weak people in your camp and whatnot. You know,
So
they can't get behind you and everything like that. And the bottom line is this, man. I'm putting myself out there, you know, because when it comes to this Pan-African movement, you and me are the top. You know, we go. This movement goes. But instead of people saying, you know, something, and we don't like what Bomani Kyle says, but you know, let me freaking let me basically support these brothers. I don't agree with a lot of stuff and everything, you know, but you know, what you call? He timed me out with narcissistic. Yeah, timed your ass out, you know. I look down there.
you wild man.
Yeah. I look down there. What? Timed his ass out, man. You know. You know.
Just,
but,
yeah. I'm just trying to read through these comments. These folks are hilarious, but family, as usual, you know, I got my number and information scrolling down there for any serious people that want to really connect with us. Beyond that, we can only do so much of this kind of show because I'm all about work and got lots of work here, projects here to work on, journeys to take, business to handle, moves to make, people to babysit. You know, you know, got males to raise to men. Got to provide leadership for visionless people. All those good things. So
Yeah,
we have
and
work to do, man. We're
Fredo,
tied up.
remember that? Fredo, you're still my brother. Remember that? Fredo.
That's so funny, right?
Fredo, you're still my brother. Navigate, you're still my brother. You know?
Navigate. If you haven't seen that movie, that's not a good thing to be called.
Yeah. The
But
Godfather Part 2. Fredo.
Navigate probably didn't have any TV back then, so maybe he
Yeah.
didn't see it.
You watch the Godfather. Godfather, Thanksgiving.
Because he likes to live off the grid.
Yeah, he lives off the grid. How can you live off the grid? Does he have Netflix up there or something? What do you watch?
He watches nature.
Oh Lord, man. Imagine that, man. Only thing you got to watch is bird listening. I mean, it's beautiful scenery. I get it, man. But shit, man.
I mean, seeing dirt roads and seeing just woods and unfinished homes,
open sewers and whatnot. People shitting bushes and whatnot. That's good. I mean, that's good. I mean, I could do that for vacation. Get away and everything. But I gotta get back to civilization, man. I ain't like going down to North Carolina, man. I mean, I go down to North Carolina to family farm and all like that.
We gotta give you some rest, man. You look tired, man.
Yeah.
B-Hoop was probably coming on in the wrong time. We can let her talk for a minute, but
let her talk for a minute. Let's see what she has.
I was trying to click her on, but she ejected, and I didn't eject her. But
B-Hoop, come on, speak now. Forever hold your peace, girl.
Yeah, speak now, forever hold your peace. Serious business. I don't think she like what you're saying about negative freely.
Negative freely. But no, I was just saying earlier that B-Hoop was saying I agree with Navigate. I want to see what she agrees with about.
Family, we are superheroes, and we know you're gonna have villain, and Navigate freely is one of those villains. There's been a bunch of them, but we have.
Navigate says he has Fire Stick, but he never seen Godfather Part 2. He has. He probably
don't know how to work a Fire Stick, or the internet is probably too slow there. Where the Fire Stick,
that's what I'm saying.
A video. It's like moving in slow motion.
Yeah, but I'll tell you one thing: Liberia, their internet is real powerful. Though I don't know how that happened. People always complain about data and everything.
You're gonna start saying you're biased and you're making stuff up. That's what they're gonna say.
Check us out. The data is expensive as hell, man. God damn. But the Wi-Fi, I bought a Wi-Fi box, right, for $100, right? And you pay for the service. I paid for the service. It was like $29, like $20 a week. And while I was in the house, while I was inside, we was out most of the time, right? So you have to keep buying those data cards off the street vendors, for $1 or $2, whatever, like that, But for the most part, when we was in the house, right, that Wi-Fi was powerful. I was doing shows and everything. I did like 4 shows on Diane Show when I was there. I did O'Shea show at the Candasia. At the Candasia, that's why I did O'Shea show, Candasia show. But for the most part, man, Liberian Wi-Fi in the house Wi-Fi, Lone Star, that shit was good. And Orange, that's South African company, and Lone Star, they basically that whatever it is, whatever Liberia's doing with their Wi-Fi, as far as that shit is good. You go get that Wi-Fi, that Wi-Fi is powerful. I never had no problems. Yeah, I hear people talking about Wi-Fi, data, and all that like that. I think what is people buy data. Data is expensive in Africa. We got to keep buying those data cards and loading them. That's why you rarely see Africans on the internet, on YouTube, because too much data they got to buy. But and then or when you see brothers in Africa, they're at a Wi-Fi cafe, But I guess not a lot of people have Wi-Fi in their homes there. That's what I think it is. A lot of people don't have Wi-Fi. I wonder if Navigate got Wi-Fi. Is he using a data card? That's why I can't get on tonight.
Yeah, I mean, he has access to broadband. It's just he's up to paying for it. But the vision of this, the community itself, is what we talk about, Black Star. The vision is to build. Your goal is to put your best minds together to build something as independent as possible, something sustainable. So when you talk about internet, it's like people made this always looking for, we're never looking for a way how we could be the, manufacturer, build a company from the ground up to provide a service. We're just
Right.
waiting for everyone to come in. And that's the opportunity that you have, like
Yeah,
in the
that's
time that we have, you can build your own infrastructure and build your own operation as far as the things that you need sustainable. So when we set up whichever way we're going to do internet, the goal is to have fast, efficient system
yeah.
to get your
And we
work
have,
done. Because if you're doing video conference and you're doing
yo, bro,
presentation
mother
and things like
money.
that, huh?
Imagine having a Black Star, Pan African, or whatever line, internet cable company, whatnot, which we buy bulk, and every our territory we have. Like, let me give you an example. Here in Virginia, right?
She's
Certain
talking
like,
about we sleepy. I
yeah.
mean, she didn't even get it. I was trying to get her to come on and
No,
talk.
come on. I'm not sleeping. I could be up
I
for a few
mean,
minutes.
but we're not gonna stay up all night long.
I'm not gonna say I got like a half hour at the max if somebody else comes on.
But nevertheless, we worked there another time. It's all good.
Check us out. This is the whole thing about having land and infrastructure, right? This is what we mean, right?
She got jokes, man.
And check us out. College man. Now I got the wow, man. That was it. You call me old now? Jeez,
Look at Navigate. He's bragging what he get.
Yeah.
I get 250 gigs.
I got 24 gigs for $40 US. Okay, all right. But check us out. This is what I'm trying to say, brother. Imagine, man, like I said, when we have our territories, right? Like, give me an example. And one of my friends used to live in this condominium community, right? I said, why'd you move from there? He said, man, Cox Cable had a grandfather clause, just like so simple as that, where they were the only provider in the whole thing. Even my business office is that, right? They have like this. If you want high speed internet, right? High speed, right? Super high speed. Only Verizon have, so only Cox Cable have it, right? So I'm stuck. I would actually want Verizon from my office, right? But like that. So they got whole blocks where they control. Who decides that? But that's the whole thing is when you the people that initially founded Virginia, they got everything so grandfathered in, right? That they got a backroom deal with Cox, right? Okay, you got this, and you can't do nothing about it. We want that same sort of power in our territory. Such and such cable company that we own shares in. That's who people buy, and that's who the only people that you're going to get your internet from, your cable, your web satellite from. As simple as that.
There you go, Kala. And what does that do? That creates, what does it when you have your own people investing back in your own companies and you're reinvesting that money. This is what we talk about, family. Rosenthal explained that. What he said, he explained how to build wealth, and he's someone that's been in that world to explain that. You know what I mean? That's the great thing about it. But brother, we must close up, man. I know you got a long day and got a lot of folks to do business.
Yeah,
with
guys.
and things.
I had a
Been
rough
great.
day today. I didn't make no sales today, but I spent time in the hood.
And it's all good.
It would be great if I had some sales today, but they didn't make no sales today. But tomorrow I'll hit it back again and whatnot, depressed. But I was in the hood today, man. I was with the people, the community, and I was out there.
You go, family. That's why we talk about family. So family, let me put it up here real quick.
Yeah, you ask people what we need. If anybody basically that knows how to install cable systems and everything, that's a good business to get into. Because if you build 300 homes, 300 homes are going to need satellite dishes and cable. Hey, you got a business right there. How about that? It ain't hard. Get a skill, and bring it over, There you go.
Yes, family, and it's that simple. And that's how we're gonna build this future. Let's not get caught into the last situation where we had independence and then we realized that we didn't have the training and
Right.
to run a nation, a
We
country.
need skills. The more skills we
So
have, the stronger we have. We're gonna bring a database of skilled people and everything like that people can tap. One day we're gonna have a super website. We're gonna have like that, tens of thousands of people in there with every skill manageable, and we'll be able to send people out invitations and job opportunities and contracting opportunities. We're gonna have that system built one day. It's gonna take money and time and everything, but that's what the infrastructure Black App is gonna go to. We're gonna go from just a social network to a base camp project manager organization. that's going to happen. So be prepared.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. And family, we are gonna close it for the night. And let me see what we got here. A little close energy. So yes, brother, it was great connecting with you, man. And family, just reach out to us. As you can see, the numbers been posted. Information has been posted to connect with us. Reach out, connect with us. Unfortunately, we can't sit here and do a bunch of YouTube shows. We have a whole lot of business to do, so that's the difference maker. But would love to get some more people to join the party and see us out there in the active world, especially when we do that wonderful Liberia journey.
Oh yeah,
and
And
all
then
those
it
wonderful
roll up.
countries that we go to in Africa. So, in the meantime,
In
everyone
between.
can always work on what they're working on. Whether you're trying to get you a skill, or whether you're looking to invest all your riches that you just hit the lotto tomorrow with. You know, um, we can all make it work. We need a little bit of everything. So let's learn some skills and let's build for the 21st century. I mean, when you talk about that smart city, I know people keep on saying billions or whatever, but you build what you can build little by little.
Yep.
That is the only way you should build a city, right?
Yep.
Something sustainable and something smart technology.
Mm-hmm.
Rock on. Yes, brother, man. Another wonderful night.
Yeah.
We're closing, family. The late night shift is over. Yes, we're getting ready for the morning shift now.
Yep. I gotta get the best for bed. All right, brother Bomani. I'll holler at you tomorrow.
All right, brother, take care.
Peace.
All right, family, take care.